Charlie?
Yeah, we'll have them out there, buddy. There's 2 pages to go.
Oh, second page. Oh.
Keep those. Consider a small group.
Did you want me to just want to have sharing copies around, or you want to have everybody their own?
Pretty much, give everybody.
Good. Okay. Do you have enough there?
Plant City, huh?
Yeah. Pardon my reach.
Okay.
Just a hint, Kevin?
If you want to build a political organization, you got to get a resume going. So being on some boards and commissions and volunteering your time shows
Yeah, no, I'm not interested yet.
strength.
Where do you go?
All right.
There he is.
Hey, how are you?
Good evening.
For the record, I retract everything I just said about Matt. No. No, I don't. No.
Yeah, I try to contact couples that come over here sometimes, see if we can get hanging out with their kids, because I have 3 kids. And, it's always good that my kids are hanging out with other kids' parents that have the same mentality that I have.
Sure.
That's one of the reasons why I want to move to New Hampshire so bad. It was like, just be around libertarians. It's just like the same mentality. I don't care. I lived in Michigan for 8.5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Cold
yeah.
doesn't
I
bother
don't think you're, that's your path right there.
Yeah, you're prepped.
Yeah.
Non-libertarian kind of guy.
There's some dockets up.
Alrighty. Just read over the.
Have you signed up as a member of Free State Project?
I have, yeah.
Me too. Have they met the number yet? Because there's a certain number.
They're close.
They're
though.
close.
They're
Yeah, they're
close.
close.
It's an awfully tempting idea.
I'm moving.
The worse things get, it's an awfully
I'm
tempting
moving
idea.
as soon as my it's sad that I'm saying this, but my wife, grandparents, they're old already and they're going
Sure.
through that stage already. So as soon as they're gone, my wife and I will move. So
New Hampshire?
yeah.
It's 10,000, and once they had 10,000, you have
Hampshire.
like 5 years. Is that right?
Yep. And we're moving out there.
What are you hoping to get?
Basically, I listen to podcasts all day about New Hampshire and listen to a lot of people who are within the organization. And, they all get their back. Every time something happens to somebody,
idea.
they all get your back. And they're always like on top and everybody meets up.
Have you seen the YouTube video where they caught the one kid smoking pot in the park and they arrested him? So everybody in the town showed up with a joint in the police department. They're standing in the lobby, lit up, and the cops are behind the thing like, "Oh, we don't know what to do." It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
They themselves, the Free State Project, they donate their time so much for jury duty more than anything
I've told
else.
you about Free State.
So basically, what they want to do is like if it's a bogus freaking claim, they go,
Yeah.
Yeah. They have more of a citizen legislature too. They only meet.
Oh,
See,
their
their biggest
they have 12 people right now within Congress.
the biggest problem that they're having there is you got a group that want to run and get into office and start replacing all these judges and all, and then you got this other group that won't support them at all by even going out and voting. So it's like, look, we get that you want to be libertarian and against the system and all that, but man, play along for a little bit and you'll get exactly what you want, but you got to play along a little bit.
The majority of Free State Project people do not run as a libertarians.
Yeah.
They run as a Democrats.
Yeah.
They do not mess with the Libertarian Party out there. Yeah. They run.
Yeah,
as
why
a
is that?
Democrat.
That is interesting.
What they say, for example, this guy who ran, I listened to him 3 days ago at the Tom Woods podcast, and he said he got more votes as a Democrat than any other libertarian ever gotten.
Right, because they
running
won't
for
get out.
governor, by
Yeah,
the way.
because they won't get out and vote.
Yeah.
It's like
So they go, and he ran
Yeah.
with $105. He said how he spent $105.
yeah,
And he got 5% of the votes.
yeah, yeah. And if there's folks who just really wake up and it's like, I get where you're coming from. You don't believe in the system. I get that.
Yep.
But if you would just believe in it for just a little bit, and you get your libertarian friends in there, you'll get everything.
long enough.
What
to fix
happened with
this.
the Free State Project is they have a lot of anarcho-capitalists
Right,
within
exactly.
them too, and a lot of anarchists
Yep.
in there. They don't like to go out and vote.
Right.
They don't like to go out and support
Yeah,
anything that
they
has
won't,
to do with
yeah.
government. Which, you know, I'm an anarcho-capitalist, but if I find somebody who is worth the vote for, I
Yeah.
do go and vote.
Yeah. Well, you gotta
Like,
just-
for example,
You have to swallow it to fix
You
it.
have to,
exactly.
yeah.
For example, I did vote for Adrian for that reason, because Adrian had the same mentality that I have.
Right.
When it comes about the fluoride in the water, GMOs in food, you know,
Right.
things that are very diehard.
Adrian wants to stay here in Florida. He doesn't want to go to New Hampshire though.
No, I know that, but
I'd rather stay
I'm
here.
talking about being as an anarcho-capitalist voting.
Right,
That's what I'm
right.
talking about, vote in and go to
Yeah.
vote. I did go to vote for that reason.
The biggest problem with the Libertarian Party is it's full of libertarians.
Yeah. That's
Then
its
you
biggest
got us-
holdback.
then you got us below
That's its
our-
biggest holdback.
Trying to organize stuff.
Yeah, the
Exactly.
cat
Everybody's
herders.
such individuals.
Herding cats.
They never get together to,
Yeah.
you know, that's the biggest.
It's almost an
problem.
oxymoron if you
Yeah.
think about it. Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
The non-collective collective.
Well, you know, we
You
went,
know.
we went to a
It's voluntary
worship
collectivism, though, that's
place
fine.
That
Yeah,
built,
it's
that
not
got-
non-conforming.
that
That's right.
built itself up as being non-dogmatic. It was a worship place that built itself as being non-dogmatic, kind of open to everything.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, that's the only problem is if you're not doing the non-dogmatic part right, then, you know, it's in itself a dogma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
Yeah,
I
it's
left,
just, how do you end a sermon?
that's why I left my behind every
Instead
time
of
I
amen,
was
you
at
go,
Rand
or
Paul
not.
Libertarian.
Yeah.
I was like, what part of the libertarian this man is? Every time he says something that's controversial,
Sorry.
people, Fox
Somebody's
News
having
come
a
after
back-
him, he changes freaking rules. So what's a libertarian about?
Right.
Like, for example, the one that he said about vaccination, right?
I know.
I can tell the media right away, I am nobody, where vaccination come from, the history of vaccination.
Yeah.
I can tell that to the media. He's a doctor, he doesn't even know the history of it. So
What
why
do you
the
say
hell
about
speak up
vaccinations?
against of it then, if you don't,
Yeah.
not gonna back up yourself?
I know.
Smallpox, is that the?
He's talking about,
That's what kicked it off this time.
he's talking about, yeah, that's what
Smallpox?
he said that he believes in
measles.
a slow,
Measles.
in a
Measles.
slow, vaccination
understand
rate,
that.
which
Measles
means
isn't
some
deadly.
parents do the 10 vaccination one time, he believes in one every year. So he believes in that, even Fox News
Smallpox,
when,
I get.
I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
saw that or not, Megyn Kelly with,
I don't know.
what's his name,
Yeah.
Bill
Oh,
Ryan?
okay, yeah.
Megan said, the herd, you need to be part of the herd. And if the government needs to come and tell you what to do, this is the time.
Wow.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
How could you call yourself a Republican,
Yeah.
small government, when
Right.
you're telling the people in the
As long as it's a
Right.
Republican
that
herd.
this is the time
Right.
to become the
Sounds
herd?
just like Republican.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, no, there is no time to become part of the herd.
The herd.
Yeah.
Not whatsoever.
That's perfect. There
But
we
she
go.
said, in this time, it's okay to become part of the
Anything
herd.
the 1930s Germany would do, the Republicans would do it better.
Right.
You're damn right.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're more fascist
We
than
were just
anybody
talking
else.
about that earlier.
So
yeah.
true.
I have
Sad.
a question,
Sad
where
but
is
true.
the modern day Rhinestock?
Yeah.
Where is
Modern day
that?
what?
The Rhinestock.
The Rhinestock?
Congress of the 1930s Germany. Where is that place today? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Where the Illuminati
It's hidden a lot better than that. Yeah, it's somewhere, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet they don't have a YouTube channel streaming live video.
No, it's not.
No.
Have you thought about where New Hampshire you're going to move to? Because it's southern New Hampshire is very different from northern New Hampshire.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I'm talking
Lot of
to,
fun.
right now, I'm talking to Mike. Mike is one of the guys from the Free State Project, and he's guiding me where the cheapest prices for renting and stuff like that, which each town to move into. Because you don't want to move to a very small, like some of them are. Some of them are in a town is probably like 300-400 people.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Free State Projects that people are moving in there, but I don't want to move that small. I don't want to be.
Why don't you just set it up like the Nolan chart here? You can have all the libertarians over here on this side, and they can all move.
Well, the Free State Project, they're all
That's what
spread
you
up.
need.
You know,
And
take
they're
the whole
doing that
country like
for
that
a
would be fine with
Right.
me.
They're
And the
trying
purpose
We could just
is-
agree to
surround
do our own
things.
thing over
Exactly.
here.
The purpose is.
I didn't realize you'd have to
That's
taking
the-
over.
what is the idea
Farming
between
and
50
clearing
independent
from each
states?
single
Yeah.
end.
Thank you.
You gotta
You know?
remember, who came number 2 was Montana. Montana was the number 2 state that they
Is that what I?
This is the thing I emailed you on just a bunch of different websites.
Yeah, I didn't find it. Thank you. No, that's fine. All right, you know what? Let's go ahead and officially begin
All right.
here. We don't have a secretary to record at this meeting. Would someone like to take minutes, even if it's just comments written on the agenda, and
Here's a napkin if anybody needs one.
type it up and send it? Would anybody be willing to
I think Kevin's getting his pen ready.
record minutes?
I'll scribble it up. I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
We had this thing over here that could be.
Well, we are recording quite literally as well. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we do have 7 voting members, so we meet our quorum. It's 4 for a county meeting and 50% for an executive committee meeting. So we do meet that, and voting privilege is the same.
So would you qualify for both?
Sorry?
Qualify for both?
Yeah, we qualify for both. Let me explain why I'm saying that. We're required by our bylaws to, I know you were hoping to get through an entire meeting without me using the word bylaws, but not quite yet. We're required by our bylaws for the executive committee to meet once a month. I think we can address that at another time, because there are times when we don't need to be meeting once a month, since we can, vote on things electronically. And we need to be working more in committees and accomplishing a bunch than meeting once a month. So without objection, then this is going to serve as our combination monthly membership meeting and EC meeting, since we meet the quorum for both requirements.
I was gonna suggest,
We'll do a simultaneous meeting right here if there's no objection to that, to meet our bylaws requirements.
I was wondering if since most of us are here early anyway, if we
Yeah.
could just have it before the meeting?
Yeah, we could do that. I think
That's
it's,
what you were talking about in your emails.
yeah, there's some growing pains things. I think, and for the most part, and I'm not proposing it tonight that we look at that thing in the bylaws and change it, but I think it says in there to meet at least once a month. I think it can be to meet as needed and then specify.
Yeah.
I know it says in there the chair can call, but usually in an organization, a certain number of members of the EC can call for a meeting also. So we'll deal with that another time, but I think for this month, we'll just say that we're having a dual membership meeting / EC meeting, just to meet all of our requirements.
We definitely should try out sometime the Google Plus thing between everybody. I
For
think.
sure, yeah, and if we do need to meet, that's how we'll do it.
I apologize,
That's all right.
I had a modem break on Friday to get fixed on Tuesday. But going forward, if it's all right, Brian, I'm gonna get with you guys who have agenda items early, so we can add to the agenda
Yeah.
before it goes around for circulation.
Yeah, for sure.
So if anyone has something they wanna push, you're on to Brian and I, but we'll get it organized, and we'll have like a regular date for our EC meeting
Yeah.
on Google Plus.
We did something called OOVOO.com where I think you can have up to 12 people meet, and by sound and by video,
Mhm.
you can have video conference that way.
Yeah, it's nice to have the video option. I find it easier to pay attention to what's going on and who's speaking if it's
Yeah,
video.
and for example, some of the couples that come over here, at least one can be in front of the computer, the other one can be taking care of the kids, and at least he'll be in the meeting with all of us.
So if we do need to meet as an EC between meetings, we'll do it that way, or, sometimes, as we've done already a couple of times, if it's just something that requires a quick vote, we'll just post it on our group, some time to vote for it, and then move on, so we can, the idea is use our time more wisely. All right, so, that's a long enough explanation on how to use our time wisely. Catch that, then we'll go on. All right, anything else adding to this agenda? If there's anything else? Okay, then without objection, we'll adopt the agenda and go on. Chair report. At this point, since we're now in the stage where we've restructured the organization, elected officers have new operating rules in our bylaws. So we're in that, we're still posturing. The next stage we're moving into now is filling out these committees with talent. Bringing in people that are passionate about a certain area, finding out where they can best work at, and getting them plugged into these committees so that those of us that have committees to run can start working with those folks and helping us move down the field with that. As we're going through some of these committees, Kevin and I talked online for a while this week, and he's got a bunch of things that we're going to get to. They're listed under new business. Kevin, as we're going through these, if they're relative to the committees above, we'll just insert them up there as we go. So there may be a few things that we do under these committee reports. I think ideally, as we're flowing through meetings in the future, we'll kind of turn it over to each committee and deal with reports and conversation and motions relative to that meeting as we go, so we're not backtracking up and down the agenda.
So basically, if I understood, if there's new business items that make sense for one of these report
just do it during that report and motions time. We'll do it there. I had a conversation, not directly with our treasurer, but with her husband.
Our almost treasurer.
Yeah, well, officially treasurer, but that she may be resigning as treasurer for reasons. So I asked her to hang in there for a little bit and keep us legal till we can work out who's going to take that over. By law, we're required to have a chair and a treasurer. Those are the two required by law. So we don't. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. I think it's just demands and schedule and other things. And Anthony is out of town today as secretary, so he's not able to be here. His minutes, however, was rather impressive. I received his minutes about 40 seconds after the meeting ended last time because he was doing them on his computer as he was going, and then he emailed them to me before any of us had a chance to leave.
Nice.
So the minutes are attached there. That was awfully nice. I think by procedure what we'll do going forward is we'll just post these on the work group page, you know, as reports are finished and things are done, so people have a chance to look at them. I know it's difficult to sit here, look it over, and decide whether these are accurate and official, but to my memory and looking through it, everything seemed to be what I recall discussing. One of these days we're going to elect noted or something. I will make a campaign sign for NOTA the next time.
Yeah, I'm talking with a lot of friends of mine at work about that, and they're all for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, we need to do NOTA on everything.
It would be a very interesting addition to the Florida Constitution.
Like, we'll join the party.
Talk about messing with people. That would certainly be a good way to do it.
Yeah.
But come on, how many times has there been no other choice, and you'd love to vote for none of the above?
Sure.
Actually reject the only candidate. I think it's a beautiful concept.
One of the reasons why I was telling you about the video conference thing is because I have a friend, a coworker of mine. He gets out of work at 3:30. So by the time we do the meeting, he lives in Riverview. So you know, have to travel over here half hour and
Right.
half hour back over there. You have to go to bed early. So I was just telling him, because he wants to come really bad. Like he wants to come to a meeting and be like, you know, I want to be part of the stuff.
Drive?
Yes. And the thing is, like, you know, he has to go to bed, you know, I'm talking about 8, 9 o'clock. So, you know what I mean?
Hopefully he's watching right now.
That's what I was trying to tell him. I was like, you know, we're trying to now interact with, on the internet now better, so I forgot to mention this to him. The URL.
Or Facebook, I think he jumps it on Facebook tonight.
Oh, okay.
He's part of the,
Good.
on Facebook, he's part of.
He's a like on the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Hillsborough, Libertarian Party.
Good.
Probably
Good.
Maybe at some point we can get something.
Oh, you did post the link for this
Just
meeting on
into the
Facebook. That's great.
Kevin Tampa channel on
Yeah.
Bamboozler, which you can figure out.
That's great.
You're going to town on that Bamboozler, huh? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I have to let him know
Yeah.
next time.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah, maybe eventually we could get something set up where, you know, people are watching it live and they can shoot us like messages if they
Yeah.
want to ask
Sure.
something.
There you go.
Sure.
We can answer it.
Yeah, have somebody monitoring.
Capability,
Yeah.
That'd be pretty easy to do. Yeah.
Or they can send you,
Comments and
a
that
thing
sort of thing.
you
Yeah.
personally,
I think it's a great idea. Yep. The more involvement we can
Sure.
Sorry?
generate. Yep. So is there a motion to accept the motion?
Sure. Yeah.
And a second?
Second.
Okay. And without objection, we'll accept the minutes then as reported. On to treasurer. I went out of sequence there, pardon me.
No worries. I didn't put anything official together because I was hoping right up until almost the last minute that I would finally get with Cassie and we could sit and do something. So
Right.
I didn't print anything out to pass out to everyone, so I apologize for that.
Okay.
The amount that we have right now is $571.30. We will be getting another $4 back. I did go into the bank. I got the $4 lifted off of the charge that we get every month. What that was basically when we get a printed statement, when they send it, they also make copies of the checks that are written, and they charge us the $4 for that.
Oh.
So I was like, we don't need that. I mean, we write, you know, maybe one check
write
a
checks
month,
anyway.
if that.
Yeah.
You know, so we don't need that. I was able to sweet talk the young lady into reimbursing us 2 months back. So we got $8 actually put back into the account.
Okay.
They did charge us again this month, but she said that the way the system works, that just come back in and they'll pull
Yeah.
that and then there won't be any more charges.
Yeah, I don't think
So
we need,
I'll
I
do
don't think
that.
we need paper statements at all. BB&T, the online banking is so
That's
good.
fine, too,
You can,
yeah.
you can go back and print 6 months back.
Yeah.
And print checks 6 months back, so.
So, yeah, I mean, I've never seen a paper statement. I don't have access to the
Yeah.
mailbox, so,
Yeah,
you know.
Brian, talk about that. Where can I hardly carry any cash with me. How can I donate if I wanna do it monthly, if I wanna do such a thing, how can I do that?
okay. Right now, we're not set up to do credit cards right now, but that's the next thing we've gotta do.
Okay.
Either through, PayPal, a prior member, Joe Went, had a PayPal account set up for us, but it was set up personally
Okay.
through him for it.
Now, do
So we've unplugged from that, but,
whoever pays
we do
with
need to set that
PayPal,
up.
do they
Either
have to
PayPal
be-
or we pay. We
do
could
they
set
have
up.
to be part of PayPal though?
We could set up. We could set up an organizational one. I mean, there's a lot of options out there
Okay.
to look at for the best way to be able to do. But that's sort of where we want to go when we in development which is exactly your committee. As we're moving in that direction, we want to get into the the annual giving and the monthly pledgers and all of that, so we can start to have a financial base to work from.
Yep.
And that's exactly what we need to do, is kind of research. Do you want to look around a little at what some of the possibilities would be for, there's WePay, PayPal, all of us, who has the best fees? And
Because as long as we have that set up, I can talk to all the libertarians I talk to, they can come over here, at least they can support it that way.
Yeah.
Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, we'd like to ask our members to,
Yeah, that
there's
works.
no fee for membership, but we'd like people to be able to support. Yeah.
Yeah, so our total, if you wanna write that down, is gonna
Yeah.
be $575.30,
Okay.
not counting whatever we pull in tonight.
Okay.
Um.
Okay. Excellent, well, thank you.
And I'll go ahead
Do you want
and
us to type-
continue.
Yeah, you want
Being
to,
treasurer.
if she is gonna resign, then she'll need
Yeah.
to send a letter to me, but if, can you fill in the meantime?
Well,
kind of
I mean,
interim
does
treasurer
she-
until we fill that?
Does she actually have to resign since she never officially took the?
Well, she did, once she was elected, she was
Yeah.
officially,
Okay.
yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
already been posted
Yeah.
everywhere too.
So.
Oh, okay.
And there may be a change in that, but I didn't get the impression that that was gonna change.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I kinda thought something was up
Okay.
and she never responded back.
Yeah,
It's like,
I
we
think
need
something
to get
changed
together.
right after the last meeting, and, yeah, okay. Thank you then. So even with that, treasurer's report, can you type that up and post it
Of course,
on the
yeah.
EC page, and
Yeah.
then I can include it in the
Yeah,
file?
not a
Okay.
problem. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, campaign committee, at this point, we don't have a chair for, and that's, well, we're obviously gonna need to fill pretty quick, and that's a large skill set. So if we can be thinking about that, we're at a point today where we're okay with that being empty, but soon we need it, because that is what we're about. It's winning elections, and that committee's awfully important. So, if we can be thinking about that as we ponder through talent. Development. I'm sorry, communications, skip the big one. Kevin's got, several things there. I wanted to throw out one thing really quick, Kevin, if I could, before you go into that, so that I don't forget. Our present website domain is hillsborolibertarians.org, which is fine, and I'm not proposing a change in that. But I am proposing that we pick up a second domain and forward it to it that's more consistent with what the other parties are using. National has lp.org. Oh, yeah. National has, good point.
We know where you're heading.
You know where I'm heading. And the one in mind is available.
LPHC.
Yeah, so I'm thinking if we pick that up, it'll just be $10 a year to renew that domain, and we can point it toward the other one. Might be a little easier for folks to remember. So what do you think on that?
I'm good with that.
I can go up on the.
Which domain is picked already?
Right now we're hillsborolibertarians.org, and we would keep that,
Okay.
but we would pick up this additional one and point it to that.
But this additional do you want to do has been already taken?
No, it's
No.
available.
Oh,
No, it's
okay.
available,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's why I'm not saying it out loud into the
I'm-
microphone.
I'm saying,
streaming.
yeah.
But
I'm saying
it's,
let's,
yeah,
we just do
we'll
away
just go
with
ahead
the
and
other
grab
one.
it. Well, we can use it transitionally if
Yeah.
if we can also reverse it where everything is really on that one and the other one forwards to this. It's just a matter of
That's another thing that website could be good
being
for.
easy to remember.
We can add up
If I had a laptop right here, I could jump on and buy it, but.
You know, there are some websites that says donate. We can set up that, and that website, we can do
Sure.
such a thing also.
Yeah.
Do you need a motion for that?
Actually, I just kinda wanted feedback on that. It's under the whatever dollar
Oh,
amount,
$100.
so it's $10.
I mean, it's gonna be on my list, I'm gonna be going through the website.
You're doing it no matter what.
It's $10. I just, no, not if you didn't like the idea,
I know,
but
I know, I know.
I didn't, yeah.
No, I like that idea.
Yeah, it's just for consistency's sake and before somebody else gets it is actually the better reason. Okay, you wanna pass the inconspicuous microphone down to Kevin? He's got a bunch of things. So I'll turn over the floor to our communications committee chair.
Super, thanks. I was gonna say, Brian did a great job getting all the logon passwords transitioned over, so thanks for doing that. And I'm Kevin, the new communications chair. I guess I want to say a couple things. If you guys have ideas on the website, or I'm going to be picking through the website and making changes, there's a page of links on there, which I guess are like really old and maybe not relative. So we're probably going to go wipe that whole thing clean and start over. And so just in general, if you have feedback, by all means email to me. If you have links, great. I've got a again, I apologize, my router broke on Friday. We didn't get turned on until last night. But I have a survey I'm going to send out to all the executive committee members, which is kind of exhaustive, but I'm really trying to find out where the talent is on our team.
Who are the record? I have no idea. There you go, sir. All right, absolutely.
Any catch up or anything? You got some? Okay, good.
Would you like me to bring out more ketchup for you guys? No, here's a whole thing of it.
Cool. So I'm going to be sending a survey around. All I need is your name and phone number, but if you're willing to fill out the rest of it, great. The point is we're trying to figure out what industries people have experience in, so as we build our issue matrix or whatever the issues are, or maybe even our funding activity, trying to solicit donations, we can put the right people in the right room to have that conversation with those people. People on my mind are Mosaic. They gave $5,000 to each party. Each of the other two parties gave $0 to us. So we'll have to have that conversation. Yeah. Give it up for Mosaic. So that's one of the things. And also, if you have on this links page, I'm really kind of trying to get some stir going. I hate this to be something other than a stick in the mud, but I want to stir things up. I want to have an area dedicated to zealots, people who are just so fired up on some issue that we can have, just a snapshot of some of the things people are focused on. So, and this would be separate from something the Libertarian Party backs, but it was something we were willing to at least recognize that we are a diverse group. And, so I think there's space for that. Like, I'm a non-GMO person. I'm going to be marching with all the crazy people in Tampa in a few months with our sign.
I was thinking
Things like that.
about that. If we
Nonviolent
if we had,
things.
If we had some sort of a response,
Like the Libertarian says, kind of a thing each day.
Position statement, something.
Yeah, something that's going on in the news, maybe
Yep.
that day or that week, the Libertarian would say to this, blah, blah, blah. So we just start giving our answers out there. Maybe some people start picking this
Voice
stuff
the
up,
liberty
going,
sort of opinion.
yeah, exactly.
From a libertarian perspective.
Right.
for them.
This is how we would
I
handle
can
that.
do that if you let me.
Yeah,
I was
that would
saying,
be
if
great.
we do that, we should probably have a rotating person
Yeah.
for that position.
Yeah.
Well, we've got some good writers in here,
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, I don't want to, I'd like to keep it sort of a process.
Sure,
rather than
sure.
personality.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
But I was just, thinking that might be a decent idea,
Sure.
something going on in the news
I like that.
every day,
Maybe we put
or
position
every week or
statements
whatever,
out.
yeah.
The rolling editorial page of the
Yeah.
Libertarian Party.
Right.
Well, we want to reach people on the issues that are theirs.
Right,
You know.
right. Yeah, and
And,
if you start plucking people like, oh yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
You might find, man, there's a lot that these
We might
people
find we
agree with us
more
on.
than we disagree on.
Right,
I think along those lines, I think we should also try to establish some relationships with local journalists, because they're always looking for a quote,
right.
and it's hard to write. And
Yeah.
There's always some boob Republican or Democrat giving some idiotic comment.
Right.
A feeder for the journalists, I like that.
Yeah.
It's like RSS feed, I don't even know how that works yet, but
Mhm.
almost one of them, kind of.
It'd be great to,
Yeah, but just they know that they could call up any number of people here and they could get a quote.
Sure.
Speaking of that, I plan to get some business cards printed, which will be generic. They'll have our canned email addresses in the back. and there'll be a place for you to write your name and phone number on the front. So as you go about your day in the community, you can get them in people's hands, and they can find us. Hopefully next month I'll have them. I guess I'll talk to Brian and get some money allocated. I should probably put that up as a motion right now. If we can get $25 allocated to 1,000 business cards. No, probably be less than that.
Right? Yeah, is there any objection? There we go. We're halfway there.
I'll second.
So, yeah, okay.
Anyone opposed?
Sure. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
I'll go with Brian. We can head back to the basket.
Just put it in the basket back.
Someone's got a basket, but thanks.
Yeah,
So website stuff's gonna get picked up and cleaned. I'm gonna solicit Susie over here to help me with Facebook, because I'm really a midget in Facebook. And I wanted to share about a couple communication things too. This past month, I went to another group, the 912ers, who had a guy that I was sizing up to come here. And his name was Dan Peterson. Make a long story short, this is I don't know if you remember Amendment 1 that got passed last November, but it basically allocated something like 40% of what's called dock stamp taxes to be spent on purchasing conservation land in the state of Florida. So this was basically a money grab from county budgets to the state budget to buy land. So Mr. Peterson lost his agenda, which was to defeat Amendment 1. So now he's trying to be proactive and put together a plan for budgeting, because he recognizes once this money train gets budgeted, it's probably going to get repeated year after year. So he's actively working with the Environmental Committee in the Senate to piece it together. So on my Bamboozler account, also on YouTube, I have his presentation. You're welcome to go check it out. But he also has this pre-printed piece that he did with the James Madison Institute, and I'm going to give it to you guys. He has a petition that he's really trying to just build a 3-ring notebook full of signed petitions of actual people who vote to bring with him to the Senate committee, so he can bring a box of signed petitions, which does carry a lot of clout. It's nothing other than a token petition. But go ahead, Matt. Question?
Who is he again?
Dan Peterson.
Okay, who is he?
He has a. Let me see if I have it here. He has a property rights group out of Orlando that he's been heading up for decades.
So was he in the Florida Senate or anything?
He's not. He's basically a PAC.
So what's he trying to do now? Because I know they're taking dock stamp money and using it for whatever purpose. Does he want to abolish the dock stamps, which would be great, or does he want to make sure it's going to be used for a specific purpose? What's he?
It's the latter. He has. This is a 10-point plan. I'll just pass it down to you.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
And he's basically pushing for the money to be allocated in that way. And obviously, at the end of all this, there's a petition that I have on the table back there. I'd like y'all to sign if at all possible. And after you read it, of course. And also, if you can email the senator or the Senate. I gave you another piece of paper that has some email links. Susie's got her hand up. Go ahead, Susie.
Can I have this James Madison thing?
Sure.
It's not so much that the money is going to be allocated, because that's already been voted and approved.
Right.
And what he's talking about is that there is a massive feeding frenzy on this. Basically, they just have a lot of wind. They've now allocated 10 years of dock stamp fees are open for the grab. And so what he's trying to create is basically the process that he's asking them to go through from the steps to say, let's make sure that we've maintained the property that we already exist. Let's make sure, he's got a whole list of, I would like you to address these issues prior to all these people grabbing some of the money. Some of the people are requesting money in advance, and so he's trying to go against that. So what he's trying to do is propose a set of rules and norms that this group look at.
So just to be clear, it's $20 billion over 20 years. It's an estimate, about $1 billion a year.
A big lottery check.
And so I've sent the Senate a letter, and it simply says, guys, this is really a slop. You already have a general budget where you're spending money on this. This is really going to allow you to show a $20 billion reduction on your general budget, and then you can put the money back on this other column. This is my, sort of jaundiced view of how Florida should spend taxpayer money. I also gave him the little talk about, last thing we need is more wild lands to be managed correctly, so we have more forest fires. I gave him that little talk too. But anyways, I'm just one person. You guys are another 8 or 10, and see what you can do. That's this thing, and back on the table is the related petition. Other things I wanted to share was, appointed positions. So I gave you guys this 2-pager. I know you folks are big volunteers here in the Libertarian Party, but you may have friends and family who might be willing to jump into some of these presently open positions in county and municipal boards and committees. So I'm not going to read through this, but basically you can see where it says vacant. Those are actual positions. Some of them are like racist, like you have to be a Hispanic to be in a particular seat on a committee. I thought we were a non-racist country. I'm a little confused about that. I thought it was we the people, not we the singular race.
We the adjective people.
I had enough with you white people already.
I can understand this.
Of volunteer spots?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't make me pull out my white paper.
One of those, just for information, the page with all the URLs on it goes to these same documents on my Google Drive, so you can, cut and paste that URL and send it to somebody. All right, so
These are advisory committees and volunteer non-elected positions? Is that what these are? These are non-elected?
correct.
Okay.
They are pretty much appointed. Pretty much you volunteer. They look at your application. I don't know if they do a background check. I think some of them they do. Some of them are big. Some of them are paid. I think it's a Plant City plumber and electrician position. I think it's a paid position on like the sewer committee.
Seems like there's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. So the other thing I'm gonna show is our little municipal map for our county. You guys may have seen this before.
Fantastic.
These are all separate municipalities that have their own elected committees, legislative committees, and you know if that's done? I'm gonna show this camera. Anyways, Plant City has an election coming up. Real quick, do we have anybody in Plant City who's active 3.net? Patrick? Patrick, I got all the forms for you. We'll have to double check the deadlines.
I already signed his name.
April 7th is the election date. April 7th.
Not gonna happen.
I think it pays money.
Yeah, well, right now, I mean, I'm too entrenched in my own job.
Well, you may have friends and family who would be good candidates.
Yeah, we need outreach to
Why
members
did-
in that area.
Why did Temple Terrace bother with making a city? I mean, it's just a little bitty thing. Because they were able to.
Who here lives in Temple Terrace and can answer the question?
I mean, I just moved up here this way because I started grad school in South Florida back in August, so.
Well, good. All right, so the message is simply this: recruit. We need people in these municipal districts so we can get qualified candidate and run them. If the entry level is very low, in the end of the day, we count numbers here. We need to get people in elected slots. This next thing on the communication committee agenda here is Tampa's municipal elections, which I had in my hand here, is the 3rd of March, like 3 weeks from now. I'll pass this down the line here, but basically I think it's District 4 and District 6 is a competitive race. Some would probably argue otherwise because there's some big money in those districts. The reason I'm focused on them is because they're three-way challenges, and I think for a third party like ourselves, those are the ones we want to focus on in the future. So if we can get to know the people in the district and the issues, that might be useful to us.
Especially since only one person in those districts, in the city council in Tampa voted against keeping the red light cameras. So.
Yeah, that's coming up on our agenda. So basically I got a calendar here, and the question to you guys is, do we have the energy and the effort and the desire to host a candidate debate between those competitive races someplace in town, and also give those less competitive races, allow those candidates an opportunity to answer 3 questions from our chairman, which will be provided ahead of time, and give them a little opportunity to be on the microphone, and of course, create an event out of this. I'll open this up for discussion.
What would the event? What would that look like? What would the event?
It could be this room. It could be made for streaming event. It could be what was that club? It's not the VFW, Susie. What was that club?
I think we need people to show up.
Is it the VFW? The VFW Kennedy and Dale Mabry that we were at, it's got a big room. There's probably churches with big rooms. We should probably do it in district. I think we're out of the district right here right now. So let me check the map here.
And I can see that being. I mean, I'm interested in things that get us out in front of voters that we're not going to reach normally, so that we can have on our best face and best curb appeal, so that the credibility.
Now, before I submit
I'd be
a
interested in
question,
like that.
what are they running for? What is the thing that they're running for? Is that a city council or county commissioner?
It's a legislative council for the city of Tampa.
Okay, all right. Because one of the biggest question I would love to ask somebody like that would be in, especially in our downtown, sick and tired of this meters crap. Like, if somebody can do something about this. I mean, if you already live in the Hillsborough County and you are a registered you're a citizen,
pay taxes.
not a citizen. What's that called? A resident of the Hillsborough County. Why do we have to pay extra to live? To park in somewhere that we already are.
Well,
taxes
ironically, I support usage fees.
That's as silly as paying taxes
but-
on a house you already own.
Well, here you go.
But it's a tough call.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
Well-
At some point, I do support usage fees. I mean, if I recognize some families with small children don't have $10,000 to put out every year, and maybe that's one of the reasons for dragging it across the whole society. But there's a counter argument too. But what's your argument? That it should be no parking fees?
No, none. You already pay taxes every year for it. You gotta remember, what do we use property taxes for? We use it for that reason also. For minorities already, because that's already included in there. For a school system, which is already. Exactly, so everything that we pay already annually for, it's already for things that you are thinking of, but they don't put their money towards. That's what I meant.
They are.
Double taxation, no representation.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because if we were to do a candidate debate or a candidate forum, so you're saying like invite specific people to
between
come?
these two circles are the available days.
Okay.
So
we would invite them to come at a set location. We would have a couple of questions to ask them, and then when you and I were discussing, were we saying that candidates that were not involved in that Q&A would also have like 5 minutes to get up and present their
I think we should
candidacy to the crowd?
We should have a canned 3 questions.
The more candidates that are involved, the better attendance we're going to get.
Now, the GOP are doing something on the 24th, which I'll mark on here.
Yeah.
Downtown, at the same hotel we used to meet
I
at.
posted something.
That's on Tuesday, actually.
Forum too.
GOP is doing something on a Tuesday, the 24th. I have no idea what the Democrats are doing. Does anyone ever track them?
Try to tune them out.
Because I'll tell you what, that'll be the only thing that I would love to run if I ever run for anything, would be either for city or county, because I don't want to run anything else beyond that.
That's me.
But exactly, so for me to deal with something locally, that would be one of the platforms that I would run to. And
If I ever did it.
yeah, exactly. You get sick and tired of getting more taxes and taxes and taxes on top of taxes.
Let me
I want to stay on this debate.
Yeah, discussion, yeah.
What
Or
were the
whatever.
dates that were possible?
All right, so the election's on the 3rd, Tuesday. We basically have the 17th. If you want to stick to Tuesdays, I don't really care. I'm thinking really a Friday.
What month are we in?
We're in February.
Okay.
Today's the 11th.
No, I knew that. I mean, what date is this that we're talking about?
I'm not discussing a date yet, so it's still being discussed.
Okay.
Venue. Let's talk about venue. Let's talk about whether we have it in us to organize it, which will be
I think that would
direct
be
mail,
not-
phone calls. There's only about 40 different candidates running.
The election date is what again? I'm sorry.
3rd.
What? March.
March.
Like in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks.
Mhm.
Let's do this. I like the idea. I think these are exactly the things we should be doing. Every time there's an election, we should be having a "We Dare You to Show Up" debate opportunity for candidates. Since it's in 3+ weeks.
Okay, I got a backup plan.
We could.
I'm sensing you're thinking we don't have it in us to
I don't know if we have
get
the
it
time.
done.
I think we can do it, I just don't know if we have the time to do it.
No, I understand. Believe me, I'm going to put a calendar together, and some other folks can obviously join in. And we're going to put an annual, calendar of
Yeah.
standard
Oh, yeah,
activities.
for sure.
For backup plan, why don't we do something in Plant City and really, make a presence there. I know I can pull a bunch of people from Polk County too, because we're friends with the chairman over there, and we can, Plant City's around the line. I'm sure we can get a ton of people over there and really have an effect. There's been some old, I haven't met the old boys, but apparently there's an old boy network over there in Plant City that's been there for decades. And,
I've got, if you're looking for a room, I've got a good place for you. The same place we had the Adrian meet in Plain City. I'll set that up for you. Just give me a date.
The date is, election date's the 5th, so, I have April's calendar right here if you want to stare at it.
Why don't we put out on this, for this upcoming election, something that we could do without another time.
You can pass this down to Patrick.
Why don't we send a question to all these candidates?
Yeah.
Put it on this ballot and put out a, voter guide based on their responses.
I can tell you number 6.
I think you're on the right track. I got some comments. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead, Brian.
I can say, Guido Mascalo, he's running for District 6. He's a young guy. He's pretty liberty oriented. He would be a good person for us to back. I'm fairly certain.
Is that the one that showed up to the meeting, what about 6 or 7 months ago?
Black gentleman?
No.
He's
maybe.
he's I think he's part Italian, part Hispanic. He can speak 2 or 3 languages.
I want to think that's the guy.
I think he's been in one of our meetings before.
Really?
That name sounds very familiar.
I think he has been in one of our meetings before.
Okay. I think it's Tommy Constellano's running against that slot. Is that right? Is that District 6 you were referring to? Yeah, Tommy I've met before. He's definitely used to run for the GOP. Small business owner. I like him, and I know we're going to skip doing something formal with Tampa right now. But here's where I wanted to head with this, which is what I want to do is we need to make our picks on this list of candidates. Some of these candidates have withdrawn. I think this is like a week old, this piece of paper, so some candidates have actually withdrawn. So I need to get a update. Do I have a date on here? I don't have a date on here.
How do we want to vote these guys?
We should probably have we should probably empower our chair to put together a canned series of questions to send out to all committees, all these candidate committees. Ask for an answer and a deadline. And if we don't get it, we'll have to figure it out on our own who we think's in line with libertarian ideas.
Yeah.
Are any of them registered libertarians?
So they can't be registered in 2 parties, I don't believe, can they?
They're all some.
None of these are correct. Just for information, none of these people are our people.
Okay.
Well, if we present it with the lines that there's the chance that we might endorse them.
I think Tommy's an independent, actually.
This is what I would say. For these, if we're going to send them
Tommy
questions,
Castellano.
we're going to send them some questions we'd like them to answer. I think we need to point out in the cover letter that that a candidate we endorsed for governor received 18,000 votes in Oakville County.
That's good. Good opener.
That we we are able to endorse candidates that are not libertarian. So we'd like to know their answers to these questions.
Beautiful.
Okay. Then because obviously they're seeking endorsement. Then we can put out a voter guide in essence saying these are the answers we got, and we can this stuff we can all do electronically in this amount of time. Then we can put out there through the news media, through Facebook and whatever. These are the candidates we would endorse and why, and who we would not endorse and why for each of those races. That's something we could probably do in a couple-day turnaround.
Is there any?
They should be set this close to respond.
Do you want to make it a democratic process? I guess is the question. Who are eligible to vote on the party's positioning for these candidates?
I can't live in Tampa, so.
In terms of endorsement. What do you mean? In terms of
the vetting process and the ultimate I guess decision we make on each candidate.
Yeah, that's in our bylaws.
Oh, that's in our bylaws. There was a reason Brian wanted to talk about bylaws.
We were going to go. We are going to go back there again.
That was one of the hotly contested.
Damn you. Well, order is important.
So close.
Otherwise, it'd be chaos.
That's okay. We haven't started to talk about standing rules yet. All right. Let's see.
I'm not taking up too much time, am I?
Nope. You're good. Endorsements. Term. It's in here.
funny, it's funny that we both know somebody and they're both in the same district, but it's not the same person.
Tommy Castellano?
Yeah, and I know Guido.
I guess we've met Guido, but I don't remember him.
Yeah, Guido's like, he just turned 30 this past year, so he's a young guy.
Yeah, I think that's the same guy.
Yeah.
Same guy, yeah.
He went to one of our meetings.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, but I know he did one of the meetings last year. He's a
Okay.
good guy, yeah.
It says that we may endorse any candidate that has constituents in Hillsborough County. If the candidate is vetted by membership and not opposed by a libertarian candidate, and if the membership, if at a general membership meeting, there's a motion, second, and vote receiving at least.
Can you read that sentence in entirety? What is the technical purpose of that? Is that saying we have to have a secondary meeting, or is it saying
At a general membership meeting,
here we are?
we have to discuss a specific candidate and then vote to endorse that candidate. And we can only do that if they're not running in opposition to a libertarian.
Wow.
If
So
they are,
it
we
would
can.
have to be done tonight.
I didn't show up ready to
3 weeks.
give you a dossier on each of these people.
Yeah.
I would love to do some research on the person before I vote,
Yeah.
so.
How about this? How about we do this out on Facebook and do a formal yay nay? You know, you'll announce a meeting time, and people will be on Facebook to pick through the list. Does that make sense? Or do you want to do it? We can do it on Google groups. We can even do it publicly.
The difficulty is it requires that it happen at a general membership meeting, which is set at the second Wednesday.
Which will be after the election.
After the next election.
Well, I'm pretty sure you have us voting on the bylaws at this meeting tonight, don't you? I saw that on the agenda.
Well, you know what though? You know what we can do? We can still put out a position statement. We can ask these people.
We
set
want,
something up,
no
though, in
offense,
the
we want
bylaws
drama.
But did we set something up in
Impress.
the bylaws that we could do whatever electronically as
For
well?
the executive committee, not for general membership.
Well,
Yes,
we need to fix
the thought in that was that something like endorsing a candidate is something that all members, regardless if they're EC members or not, should have a voice in.
Well, I mean,
Because
this-
it's a position taken by the party, not just their elected.
Yeah,
Well-
this is the perfect
But I
example
think
why
we
we
can
need
still-
something set up.
still we
where
need to
we
work
can,
that out.
you know,
Let me ask a
somebody
question.
that's got a tight
Can we
timeline that
Yeah.
be
Can we
active.
set a meeting
Yeah.
for a general membership meeting between now and whenever we'll make a decision by, and then
Next Tuesday.
Well,
then
if-
market
if-
it, and then have people come in on Google Groups who can't physically be
Here's
there?
what well, there's a couple ways to do it.
So it's both physical and
I
electronic.
think we can accomplish the same thing without the LPHC endorsing. We could ask questions and say, and I know we're playing a bit with semantics here, but it's the actual endorsing of the candidate that we can't do without a general membership meeting. If we say we've asked candidates this questions and this was their response, and this is, our response to theirs, and we put that out, it's not so much a this is who we recommend you vote for guide as it's we've looked at the candidates and this is our thought on each candidate.
So we're
Sort of
just gonna
guide.
leave that up to members? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I think we'd have to do it. We'd have to do it.
We still have to.
Collectively.
Okay.
I mean, according to bylaws, the chair can speak on behalf of the party, but can't endorse candidates.
Is there any coffee in that pot?
So,
So here, babe.
I think we can accomplish the same thing and then get our opinions known about each of these candidates.
I have
what we
a
think of them,
secondary on that.
Without endorsing, and we do work around this problem, we do fix it in the future because we'll be looking much further down the road and planning things, months out like this instead of.
I'd like to comment on this, if I could. Why don't we what's the definition of a general membership meeting? What, is it only once a month? Can we, is
It's
it really?
the second
It's
Tu-
literally
second Wednesday of the month.
defined as that, huh?
Defined as once a month. I don't even think it says a week.
Can't we have special meetings?
14-day notice. General membership meetings require 14-day notice.
Well, this will be good. We can do a little ramp up. 14 days
So-
is the 25th.
Which would be Wednesday.
So this
before the
could be
election.
good. We can give a little pressure in our letter to these candidates.
I'm not opposed to it at all. Let me just
Saying
make sure we can actually do that.
we are having a meeting on this date to decide whether you get our backing or not. Please respond.
What I'm opposed to is kind of doing quick fix changes to bylaws and meet a specific situation.
You're opposed to that?
To doing quick,
I
you
am,
can go in and
too.
amend this right now.
No.
And then put it back next week.
But I'm glad I asked the question and you answered it, which is 14 days.
But, let me see if we can do that. General membership meetings, Because we want, I mean, we have to be flexible to react quickly.
Yeah,
That's something
yeah.
we've got to make sure we build in. General membership meetings should be held once each month.
That's it? That's the whole section?
That's the killer sentence right there.
Wait, say again.
Shall be held once each month. We have to
Okay.
have a meeting once each month.
Doesn't say it can't be held twice.
Exactly, shall be, I mean, what the.
Doesn't say it can only be held.
The definition of is.
I know.
Something for a special meeting?
There's no provision for that.
Let's just back up here. Shall be held once a month. Great. Doesn't mean we can have it twice a month.
Doesn't say, nothing in there about
Yeah,
not being
somebody could
able
argue
to.
about that.
I could see there's an argument for having proper warning.
Probably figuratively and literally, but
What's the devil's
Which we
advocate?
did. We
How
held
could
it
communication and meeting and voting be something against what we're trying to do?
Okay, we
Decision time.
do have general members, we do have voting members that are in the room that are not EC, so I'd be comfortable in a proposed change to the bylaws, since it's not just the EC. I'd be opposed to ever making a change to the bylaws if the only people in the room voting are EC members,
right.
and the EC benefits from that
Right.
motion. But we do have people in the room that are members and not EC members, so I'm okay with doing that, if that makes sense.
So you're gunning for that sentence so that it can allow for
Thank you
multiple
for changing
meetings?
a word.
Minimum of one meeting a month?
No, I'm back to the endorsement of the candidates. The section 7.
You're missing all fun, Brian.
Well, the idea is to fix the
I know, I was on the,
problem.
once I get done,
Let me stay-
once I get done with school, I'll go back and see if I wait till I get done with school.
Okay.
That's my big thing right now.
I'm not proposing this,
Can I
but if
ask
I
you-
were, I could propose something like this. It says, at a general membership meeting, is what it says right now in the endorsement paragraph.
Okay, that could be one next week too, so
Okay.
as far as the way I.
Or,
do that.
because we do want to be able to work in emergency situations, what if we put at a general membership meeting or executive committee meeting?
Well, then
In
you're
terms of
excluding-
endorsement.
Then you're excluding the rest of the.
Yeah, this philosophical change.
But-
We can endorse candidates at an EC
Well, what's
meeting
interesting is there's no
or a
process
general
for
membership
how
Okay.
decisions are made, though, defined. The process is not defined on how the party backs a candidate. That's not defined in that bylaw. It's just.
Well, the process is, the candidate has to be vetted by members, EC members or members, has to be vetted by members and voted on at a general membership meeting, and then I'm saying, or an EC meeting, and then the candidates could be endorsed.
Is it a third category, like a special scheduled meeting?
I'm confused.
Those are really the only
in this.
kind of two meetings we have, are general membership meetings.
I'm confused in this. Could this, this is just a question, okay? Could it be done by sending a thing to everyone a week ago, just on this topic itself, or this is something, just a meeting thing?
Why don't you put it on meetup
What do you
or
mean?
something?
Wait, what do you mean?
Okay, this thing about backing up, a candidate,
Mhm.
could he have sent something like that a week ago as a topic that we were gonna discuss here tonight?
Technically I did.
Oh,
You
could,
did?
he
I
could.
did, yeah. But Brian didn't put it on the
We can
agenda.
discuss things that are not, we don't have to announce everything that we're going to discuss at a meeting in order to discuss it.
Like, I did send this letter to Brian that said,
Yeah, we don't, you know, what I'm saying?
discuss
We don't have
having
to
debate.
notify the membership of everything we're gonna talk about, and we can't add things to that, that's not the case. So we can discuss things that we did not give notice to, you know, we don't have to send an agenda out.
It just,
to
these
the
kind of
members.
things puts us in a pickle, if you understand what I'm trying to say, it's like,
Yeah.
we're trying to rush something that it shouldn't be rushed,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion.
well, we are political people.
But we have to be able to react.
It's kind of implied we're paying attention to politics, though. I mean,
Yeah.
these are candidates who filed and are been
Yeah.
putting their signs all over town. I mean, it's kind of implied we're paying attention.
Well, what would be, let's deal with the kind of philosophical aspect of it. Should the party's executive committee, the elected members of the executive committee, be able to endorse candidates? Or should that process be, handled by general membership of the party? Or both? What do you think? That's the question, I hadn't really thought through that before.
I think now, this is the Libertarian Party of Hillsborough County.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly.
But hopefully, at some point, there'll be 10 or 12 members of the EC, and there'll be 2,000 members
Mhm.
that show up once in a while to vote, in that situation, I don't think there's any way you let the EC endorse candidates on its own. I think you
Right.
definitely would have
I
to
agree.
want the other 2,000 or whoever,
Exactly.
you know, whoever shows up. So I mean, if we were bigger, I think it's an easy question. Like right now, it doesn't matter.
That's the
if
exhaust,
it's-
that's like, if you-
I think the path is just to simply change the general membership meeting to whatever it says, once a month to minimum once a month.
Minimum once a month, right.
That way we can have a second meeting.
Or at least
The way you
once a
play
month.
with-
At least.
Yeah, at least once a month, yeah.
Or at least once a month.
Right.
So, but is that something we wanna do? Do we wanna set up a meeting?
I know
before
this is
election?
11th hour, manipulation of our bylaws, but I think
Yeah.
that's a legitimate
Well, you have something to
addition
do.
of a word.
Yeah, we always have, we're gonna be tweaking these always.
I think at some point we should freeze them,
I
but
think as libertarians, we don't wanna have to be caged in by
Right.
rules.
So they,
Ooh, I like that
the rules
argument.
need to serve the cause, not,
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
little processes. in
Well,
place.
do we wanna do that? Do we want?
I'm
are we
definitely-
saying that we wanna announce a meeting for 2
I will make
weeks
a
from now?
motion
Yes.
to add at least to the sentence regarding the definition of what a general
I'll
membership
second
meeting
that.
is.
Okay, so let's go back and look. This is,
I can't believe there's no special meeting.
there's not a provision for special or call to membership to call, there should be a way for members to call meetings, there should be a lot of things.
Making a note of that, Matt?
Yeah, just know we're not done
Is that on
yet.
the to-do list?
A development, alright,
I'll put it on here. I'm gonna take minutes.
this is, so we're under general membership meeting, this is Article 4, Section 5. The proposal, it reads, the first sentence reads, presently, the general membership meeting shall be held once each month. So we need to add at least 2 before
Right.
once.
Now you
So be
would
held at least once each month. Is that who made the motion?
be,
Right, and second was, okay. So
but
are we-
is this to be discussed at this point?
Yeah, now we're in discussion.
You made a reference to 14 days. Where did that come from?
It's also in here. 14, you have to give members 14 days notice.
Okay.
The reason a lot of
that's
that
fine.
is our accountability, it stops fishiness from going on.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, we have to give the notice, and that notice, it does go further. The notice, is given by posting the meeting on our website. So here's the next meeting.
Yeah.
Definition of website is?
Your website. Yeah.
Okay,
And we go further, we put it on Meetup, we put it on Facebook, and I would throw it out in an email, but.
Alright, so, so if you can stick it on Facebook tonight, we could have our next meeting as early as the 25th of February. When is, that'd probably be good, because then we can get it in the press for the weekend.
What day is that?
We'll
That's
pop
a
out
Wednesday.
here. Let me pop out and check the availability, but, so there's a motion, a second, then is there any other discussion on that?
Just make sure.
That's a good fix.
Put on
That's a
Meetup
good
and
general fix.
Facebook and email.
Okay, so there's a motion, a second, we'll vote, then this requires 2/3 votes to change the bylaws, and we do have a quorum for bylaws change, so. So all in favor? Then that
Aye.
change, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all opposed?
Unanimous.
Thank you. At least. Okay, so now we can set a new meeting, I know.
Alright, so with that in mind, Chair, can you please advertise before midnight that we're gonna meet, whatever day makes sense, from the 25th or later, before the
Okay,
3rd?
I'll need to go out and check on their calendar here, make sure, if not, we'll need to find another spot for it.
Alright, so that's a
Can you
decision.
go check right quick to see if they have the 25th open?
Yeah, that'd be great, yeah, she ought to be able to pull the calendar out.
So that's a decision. That same piece of paper I gave you with all those squiggly URLs has this
So what now, do we have to
document
pull off
on it.
during the next 2 weeks, we have a project.
I can certainly get this out to you later tonight too,
So
but
during the next 2 weeks, we need to craft with the
where it
question.
says
Where do I find them?
versus District 6, that URL right in front of it should have that, should go right to that map, right
Yeah.
underneath it. Yeah.
Alright, so during the next, really quick here, I mean, actually within the next couple of days, we need to know what the questions are we're sending out to these candidates, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so why don't we start, you wanna throw it out on the EC page? What, post your questions here and let's start posting and communicating.
I think the EC page is too small. Why don't we go to general membership for those questions? Do we have, do we have a
We have a
600 member
we have a
Facebook page?
Facebook page.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we should go broad on this.
Great, now let's do it, now let's get bang out of it. You're right.
District 6, where is that located?
It's somewhere in the green. Let me see if I get that exact map. One
Okay,
second.
So we don't wanna sound stupid either. We wanna just make sure we bring a topic that is related to that district. So, we bring in a
Well,
I mean, just for information, half
races are you
the
talking
city
about?
council seats are at large for the whole city, and then some of them are for, partial sections of the city.
well, okay, let's talk about this, because if we're gonna if we're gonna put on Facebook for members to suggest questions, then at some point, we'll take that into EC and we'll discuss and pick the three perhaps. What do we wanna do? Do we want, should there be a stoplight at the corner of this and this? Or do we want something a bit more libertarian and broader, like what is the role of, in your view, what are the limitations of, do we want, maybe come up with 3 questions that every one of these candidates asks?
I want more of a libertarian.
Because
I should say I want.
Yeah,
I vote for
because what's the purpose of this? The purpose is.
We sniff them out, that's the purpose of
The purpose
it.
is for us, is to hold these candidates up, to a libertarian candle.
Exactly.
And look through them, right?
So, I want a broader question.
I think we need questions.
Related to our.
I think we need questions that are, how does this person line up philosophically to a libertarian, is really what we're doing, I guess.
Yeah.
So what would be so when we ask people for questions.
Apologize for not
we-
bringing these to the meeting ahead of time, but.
No. But, so when we ask people these questions, or when we ask people to suggest questions, we need to let them know what that parameter is. And not, what time can you.
So there's bigger brain trust than who we are in this room. I'm aware of that. So there's probably some great reference materials for us to pull from to do the old QC on a candidate for how they score in a libertarian scoring.
It is reserved?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you meant it
What
was
was the date?
reserved like.
We could possibly, why don't we shoot for the,
25th available?
Yes.
No, we reserved it.
I just never reserved it.
Oh,
Reserved
okay.
meaning we reserved, got it, okay.
Sorry, I reserved it.
I was heading for Plan B on that one.
25th, all right.
Sorry, I should have been clear.
So you're
I would love
powered.
to drag all candidates in front of the libertarian lines then, before their thing. And then-
Next year, let's offer them food and
Can we have
beverage.
2 broad questions and maybe one specific one, because it's easy to answer, I don't like taxes. It's harder to say,
Name
I
3
say
taxes you don't
abolish
like.
whatever, right?
Well,
Don't hedge.
let's stick with the Amendment 1 thing. Let's stick with the dock stamp if you want. Would you be willing, actually, that's a county decision, not a city decision. I'd take that back.
Doc stamps are state law.
Yeah.
Well,
But you have to have them, but you could also,
we could look
can't you
at-
allocate the percentage?
We
I
could
mean,
look at like a question like, where do
I think
you
they're
plan on
mixed.
reducing costs on whatever? Because it just seems like government they're just rolling forward with, spend more, we need more money from you people.
Yeah.
But that would be a question that, for example, the other day I listened to these 2 things that the libertarians in general, I'm talking about the whole country, okay? The libertarians agree and disagree. One of them is you got one brand of the libertarian who is anarchist, who believe like me that taxation is theft, basically.
Right.
And you got another libertarian brand who believes some taxation is necessary for certain things. So if we gotta go ahead and ask him what kind of the things that we talk about, you will be the mentality of taxation, instead of just be, we just wanna tax as much as we can,
Right.
instead of we just gonna tax whatever is necessary to maintain a society. That's what I'm trying to say.
So procedurally, we're gonna ask these people these questions, we're gonna get answers back, we're gonna review their answers in 2 weeks at this meeting, and then vote on what candidates, if any, the Hillsborough Party would be.
if you want, how do you feel about inviting them in to talk?
I think we should also invite them to come.
I mean, I don't wanna
Sure, why not?
create chaos, but,
No, I just.
if we're gonna send a letter to
Yeah.
them, we might as well send an invite.
I mean, I'd love to, I'm not suggesting this necessarily as a question, but the question after the GOP first primary debate in Tampa, I asked to Newt Gingrich and to Herman Cain, which I thought was the only question relative for the last election. I asked them both after the debate, what is your plan to stop the rise of communism and socialism in the United States? Because to me, nothing else matters. Herman Cain and I had a marvelous conversation about that. Newt said, good luck with that one, and patted me on the back and walked away. So,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's the only question there is.
Okay, but
that's, I'm not proposing
How-
that.
the
But I'm
thing
saying
is-
that's the idea, because if they go, why would we wanna do that? It's a great idea.
If we're gonna talk philosophy, I'll
Yeah.
just I'll pull my pants down and show you something, which is basically,
Right.
this government has an upside down pyramid. Too much money in federal, too much money in state, too little at the city level. I actually am more of more interested in supporting a broader base tax, local, smaller state, much smaller federal. just the opposite of what's going on. So I do argue there should be taxes, of course. There's streets, there's sewers, there's public water.
That's what I'm saying, we got two types of libertarians.
So, but I am fully aware that we need to shut it off at the federal level and
Well, I think it'll be very
throttle it
interesting
back
to
at the
see
state
what
level.
questions people want to ask these candidates.
How about some kind of
that's a great
nullification
idea.
theme? Like, you get the state telling the city to do this. You got the feds telling the city to do this. Why are we paying for this? Why don't you just nullify this?
Nullification question?
So that type of thing. Like,
This-
why don't
this
you
could be a lot
give a
of fun.
$1 budget for everything federal that's getting shoved down the city of Tampa's throat to perform?
Let's set some calendar goals then for this. And this definitely overlaps in political action committee too.
I think we should have it all done by Sunday.
Communications and political action.
I think we should have it all
projects.
done by Sunday, out Sunday,
All right, so,
email.
can you guys craft together the question that we're gonna post to members so they can post questions they'd like to be asking? Can you guys get together and do that?
Play with Matt and me?
This is the actual question we're gonna put on Facebook that asks them for their questions for candidates.
Well, we only have three.
I think we gotta get that done like the next 48 hours.
Yeah.
Did you say we only have three?
He was talking
Yeah,
about
I mean, I'm just saying three is enough
Three.
questions for them to
We'll like
answer.
attach a list of all the candidates, right?
These
Yeah.
are the people we're gonna ask them from. What
I
are
gotta
three
get an
questions
update.
we'd like to ask.
Remember that piece of paper? Some of
Are
these
we
people.
coming up with three questions that we're gonna apply to every candidate, or three questions
I think we
per
should. I think we
candidate?
should standardize it. I guess. I think
Like,
so.
are they
Didn't
all
y'all
in
say
the
there were
same
two?
region, like they're all Tampa?
Basically
general,
half of them are
one
district.
detailed.
One second, Brian. Half of them are municipal district wide. Some of them are partial segments of the district.
So what's the deadline then? What will be the deadline to submit your approach and suggestions?
I think Matt and I should probably have it. Actually, I was thinking you and Matt should probably. I guess we should have the Facebook request out to our general membership to solicit questions in detailed issues that they want the candidates to answer. I think it'd be really useful to us to get feedback from the 600 or whatever Facebook people we have.
Yeah.
And then I think and then as a group, as I'll say, like an executive committee goal, we should have
When
this
do you want-
done
when do
by
you wanna
Sunday
when do
and
you
in the
wanna post
mail
that?
to the candidates by Sunday night, and then we can do a physical letter to them.
Okay. let me
You know,
make sure I
Monday
got it
mail.
straight. So how quickly then can you guys post that question on Facebook for people to begin to contribute their questions?
I guess when you
What do you
announce,
think?
are you gonna announce the meeting tonight? Can we? Can you also?
Let's do it all.
I guess. Let's
Let's do this
time
first.
tomorrow.
Let's say that we're doing this event on this date and time. We want your questions asked the candidates. We're gonna choose. EC's gonna choose three questions to ask these guys out of the ones you post. Start posting. So
12th. So the 12th we'll have our statement
okay.
done
so
to
that's
go out
tomorrow.
to Facebook and solicit feedback.
So by tomorrow night, you'll have the first question up. The
And it'll
invitation.
obviously have links to the candidates so they can track it down.
The invitation will be up then by tomorrow, and then they have until what's their deadline to post questions?
Let's get it all back by Sunday, PM, and then we'll pick through them.
All right, so Sunday's the
and
deadline.
get the final question list done for the candidates by
You wanted to have it
by
Saturday
Sunday.
night maybe, and then have all today Sunday.
Well, you got-
We'll get Facebook
You gotta
feedback
give the
by
candidates
Saturday.
time to answer these questions. That's gonna be the biggest thing.
So we'll get the responses processed by Facebook by end of Saturday, and then we'll rewrite the questions for the
So Saturday's
candidates
their
to
deadline.
answer by Sunday
Right,
and
that'll
send it
be
out Sunday.
Work on it, yeah.
Then, okay, then we can be communicating on the EC page about those questions.
So
And
basically
and
they'll-
narrow it, so by Sunday, we're gonna narrow down what the three questions are by Sunday night?
Or the 10, whatever the number is. I don't want to pigeonhole it's only
Okay.
three. I mean, I think they
All
can
right,
answer
let's leave
10.
it open then.
You know, I don't want to give them 100, but
Yeah, they're gonna, we're gonna be able to do a better job of making our point with fewer questions.
we should get. I'd like to give them a deadline of say like the 20th to get back to us, the candidates, which is a whole week, and invite them to show up at our meeting on the 25th. We're gonna compile all the responses.
So the candidate's response,
Yeah, we'll get the candidate's response by the 20th.
what day is that?
That's a request. The 20th is a Friday.
Friday the 20th?
We'll package it up for our voting members to go through for the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th,
Just gonna
and then
email
on the
those questions to the
25th,
candidates, have them type
we'll
in responses?
speak for our membership to decide, and we'll get it out there at the end of the 25th.
That's good. So after the 25th or 20th, when we're getting those responses back, we'll do some kind of summary presentation of it all and post that, and then, great, I love it, it's great.
a lot of hustle, but
That's good.
let's do it.
Work better under pressure, right?
These are voters we're trying to tap into. These are people showing up for a municipal election. So these are people who are going to vote every single election.
Establishes credibility.
They're showing up for a municipal election. They're showing up for any statewide election.
Yeah.
Matt, you got any feedback? Sounds like kind of on the hook. You're going to be in town. You gonna be around next week? This week?
I will not be available much of Saturday.
Okay. So
Neither will Kevin.
that's Valentine's Day duties.
It is Saturday.
Yeah, but, we can write the question tonight.
Great.
Yeah. All right, so that's a good one.
What else you got in there, communication?
I got one more uglier one. All right, so this is definitely premature, but I just want to plant the seed. I don't really want to get into this too much, but if you were on the Facebook page, Brian and I spoke about, I guess at the end of the day, we have this Constitution, which really doesn't mean anything unless the law enforcement apparatuses that are in the county obey it. Whether it's us being victimized or us being victims, there's going to be some law and order involved for the constitutional process to take place. So the linchpin to the whole thing, if I can use that term, is the police forces, the chiefs, the sheriffs, and there's a couple established organizations. Oath Keepers is one that's kind of more familiar with people, that's been really more tied to ex-military people. And then there's this other one whose acronym I keep messing up. Let me just see if I can find it here. Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association, CSPOA. And in a nutshell, and I'm suggesting, before we get into the details, I'm suggesting that we do an assessment of who are our chiefs, who are our sheriff here in Hillsborough County, and secondarily, what is the oath of office these people are presently pledging, and once we have that figured out, where do we want to go with the oath details secondarily, and is there really a need to modify what they're pledging to? I think there's a question here.
No, I was gonna say, because we talked about this a while back, the sheriff of Hillsborough County calls himself an oath keeper, but he regularly violates the Constitution, but yet he gets donations from attorneys on both sides because he makes sure they get plenty of work plans and for the defense attorneys and prosecutors, and for that reason it's been difficult to beat him because he's got all the money coming in, even though he totally tears and shreds the Constitution.
Good point. So this is one man who's got an opinion. I don't have an opinion yet. I'm keeping open-minded. I think if, as a party, if we go about this in a methodical way, we can bring our entire party to a point where we can actually decide, whether this person who's in charge is in keeping with what we think they should be, or if they are not, so that way we can have, not only be part of the conversation and not only bring this to the public's knowledge that, this particular individual is or is not keeping with the Constitution. But then secondarily, then we can start doing a scorecard kind of thing. At this point, it's an introduction. And at this point, it's we're on board with the Constitution, just like you, Mr. Peacekeeper, and Mr. Policeman are. So that's how I want to leave with this thing.
What do you want to do with this?
There's obviously bad actors in all areas of our society. I'm not doing this because I'm driven by some bad actor. I'm doing this because at the very base of all this, we need to know that the police got the people's back before they have the orders from governments back.
What is it you're wanting to do with CSPOA?
They are specifically sheriff and chiefs related. The Oath Keepers are more military related, and there is a gentleman who founded CSPOA named Sheriff Mack. He's a ex-FBI, ex-sheriff, ex-cop, ex-narcotics officer in, I think, Texas. He said he'd be willing to come out and talk to us and even talk to these chiefs. So at some point, if we want to bring this to a level, we can do a walking tour with him and go meet with these people. And he also has a book that he definitely said he wants to give to us or get to us at a reduced price so we can get it in these people's hands. As sort of
I would suggest getting with the Cop Watch folks with this as well.
I don't know them.
I know a few of them. We can make some introductions. Their name has a little bit of weight within the community, and if we can pluck people from other areas?
I think the state authority people, we call them cops,
Yeah.
they need competition. I think the free market needs to compete with these people because these people are outrageous. The militarization of the police in America is becoming a big problem, and whoever's not seeing this is completely blind. I think the state needs to come.
I'd like to, in a sense, I'm introducing this topic. I'm glad it's creating discussion. I'm not at a point where I'm saying let's do A, B, and C. Other than let's kick it around. Next, Matt and I will probably speak, and Matt probably wants to speak right now. Go ahead.
Kevin mentioned to me, and I looked it up, and so the CSPOA is like a constitutional sheriff. First of all, the sheriff in English common law has a very important place in law enforcement, chief law enforcement officer of that particular jurisdiction. So, in many ways, the sheriff is more important than any other law enforcement officer in the country.
The sheriff is the highest official.
Yeah.
Not in this county.
Supposed to.
The Department of Homeland Security was here last year in front of him, and the sheriff didn't kick him out.
This is why we're bringing this up.
That's on the sheriff.
Because he didn't exercise his
If
responsibility.
if the IRS walked into someone's house and stole property from them,
Yeah.
reclaimed whatever, the sheriff has the authority to arrest that IRS agent.
Even the President of the United States, the sheriff has the
Exactly.
authority to do so, but our sheriff is
It's
not
unlikely
doing
to
it.
arrest the president if he was acting in a political capacity.
Well, I tell you what, though, if we would have a really constitution
Can we
in
go
this country.
call to order? I think Matt's trying to finish.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
So, from what I can tell, there's only one Florida sheriff who's a member of this, and it's Nick Finch in Liberty County, which is in the Panhandle. That's one sheriff.
Yep.
So, our sheriff is David G. The budget at Hillsborough County Sheriff is $370 million.
Yep.
So right there, I think, Hillsborough's a huge county, Tampa's a huge city, so I can see why Sheriff Mack's interested. I know Sheriff Mack and Stuart Rhodes at Oath Keepers are like best buds.
Yeah, they meet all the time.
And they have a resolution, and basically there's 8 tenets, and most of them are centered around not disarming the public and Fourth Amendment issues, search and seizure issues.
Yeah, I've got a couple documents I can share with you from them. You maybe get the same ones.
Yeah, and it's there's the 7th one is opposed to domestic utilization in the military, so it's any violation of classified status.
So God forbid we ever get to a point where the basics of our society start to fall apart. But at the very least, if that day does come, we want to know where we stand with our local police and sheriffs.
I just think I'm a huge fan of the Oath Keepers, so I know that you've got to get the cops to be Oath Keepers or to be members of this, so they won't disarm the public. But I think the one question we could always ask these people is, where do you stand on the drug war? Do you believe in locking up some kid because he smoked marijuana? Do you believe in locking him in a cage and be beaten up and raped because he smoked marijuana? And if he says yes, he's a piece of shit, and he should not be serving as a sheriff.
So this obviously is a major foundational part of our society.
Yeah,
so.
but I know I don't know your name, bro. What is
Felix.
Felix was concerned about the motivation of the police, and I think there's been a lot of people who study this issue, and the drug war is the root cause of this whole thing.
Well, you talk about a $300 million budget. Guess who contributed to that? The Republicans, when they had that what's that called?
Convention.
The convention here, they donating even more money to a militarization in the county.
So we have a party platform document, as we all know. We have a party platform document. Removing the drug war is in there, as we all know. So I mean, it's not like we have to reinvent the whole wheel here. But I think we want to start this dialogue.
Yeah.
Have it as
So what are your thoughts on your thoughts to see if you mentioned he would come and visit and speak?
I think we should table it for next month, and maybe whoever's interested can get with Matt and I and
to have
Brian
somebody come and speak and present it?
see if there's something worth making a decision on. I think we need to figure out if we want to make a decision. I guess this gentleman has a book. I mean, we could make a decision now to buy 4 copies of these books and send them to the 3 chiefs and the 1 sheriff in the county.
Okay.
That's the only jurisdictions I know of. Is there any other private police forces?
Hillsborough County Sheriff is
Yeah.
We get them. We got
Police.
chief of police in Temple, Plant, and Tampa.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
We definitely should be involved in some capacity with respect to law enforcement.
Right. So.
If nothing else, like you were saying, just making sure that they know who we are and we know who they are, and we're not. It's not antagonistic, but.
Okay.
No.
Are you saying that? But we do have that slot.
I think we should buy him a book.
Okay.
I haven't read Sheriff Mack's book, but it's the first thing he said, before we got off the phone, the last thing he said was, I want to make sure you get this book to them, and I'll give it to you at a reduced price.
Do we want to see if at our next meeting, because we do have that allotment where we can have a guest come in and present something at 7 o'clock, right? As part of the evening on this on these general membership meetings.
Stream them?
Are we wanting to either, because we can plug to this and stream in somebody.
Is that gonna be, are we gonna have enough time to do that with working on the other thing?
No.
I think he means a month from now,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
the March meeting.
Okay.
The March general meeting. The second Wednesday of March when we have our next general meeting. Were you
Let's do
saying
that.
you would like to see if we can get either someone from Oath Keepers or sorry, tell me what you. Cop Watch. To come and speak on this and discuss this with us at that meeting? Should be the theme of that meeting?
I guess I'm saying this, that I don't think we have anything to make a decision on now, and we should table it to the next meeting. I'd be happy to try to line them up for Skype or a video conference.
I'm just saying, do we want them to come and present what they're doing to us so we can ask questions?
Oh, the Cop Watch people? I don't know the Cop Watch people, so maybe.
No.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say, I'm friends with Steve Beeson, he seems to be one, the Cop Watch, Steve, B-E-S-O-N, I'm
Yep.
friends with him, he seems to be one of the.
What if we invited,
Yep.
what if we invited, Cop Watch and Oath Keeper, those
But
guys
he-
to come and present?
He's in
to us
West
at that
Palm
meeting?
Beach, but.
That may get a crowd here too, I'm trying to get people here.
Okay, fine.
Starting again
I
next month.
support.
Starting again next month, this monthly
If
membership meeting needs to
we could get a
attract
Steve over
membership
here, that'd be
monthly.
pretty good.
I don't know if we get him, I don't know if we can get him up here, but we might could get him.
And if,
You can send them, I'll send them something too, because
and
I'm
if we
friends
can
with
share
them
it
on
back
Facebook.
streaming, we'll
Yeah.
bring them in.
We can do that.
Right.
Let's just send them
Yeah.
I think it's great.
message
Make that
on
the theme of our
Facebook,
March.
and just let them know
Yeah,
if
we
you
could,
can meet us over
we could
here
stream with
via
the microphone
Skype.
too.
All right.
We could have a, we
So,
could have a
since
laptop.
that role of law enforcement and it's
I'll contact Sheriff
protect the
Mack.
Constitution,
You want me to
become
line
our
him up?
theme of the next meeting, then the March meeting.
Brian and I will
Great.
send a message to Steve.
Let's
to
see if we
if
can line up, see what we get, and then we'll allocate the time for it.
Yeah, when do we go for, are you available question with these three different
Yeah.
groups?
What's the
And
date?
then see who
Second
is.
Wednesday of March?
And then lock in at least
Same-
one,
same as
maybe two.
Today, it's the 11th, because
Is it?
it's only 28 days.
Right, of course, thank you. 3/11, okay. I think that'd be a great event, and again, we have in the past, we used this general membership meeting to bring in a guest that's gonna attract an audience. That's one of the purposes of doing that. And
So I'm gonna
it's
end my
relevant to
comments by
issues.
saying, I need y'all to sign a petition on the back table before you leave.
Okay.
But
It's very important that
Anything else?
we're close with the Cop Watch, because since they started, they have come, the percentage of cop violence are going down
Big time.
since they started. So I'm in favor of
What
them
is
big
Cop
time.
Watch? What do they do?
Cop Watch, they go,
Just what it sounds like, they go watch.
They go out with
they take
cameras.
Video cameras, and when they see.
there's a guy
cops-
Van Boozer who's a Cop Watch guy.
Yeah,
If you
that's
map-
one of my buddies.
If you
That's
go to
what
the
I
map.
got.
yeah. Rational thinking, hey, I don't wanna go violent to this guy because it's already been filmed. These guys.
Sorry about the phone call.
I think these guys have been the best so far since they started.
One of the things they love to do is when they do these DUI checkpoints.
Yep. Big time.
Yeah,
They
I
like
mean,
to go out and
I don't wanna stir this up and become this like sort of animosity between the people and cops. It's not my goal. My goal is to engage in a professional way.
Right,
So
but,
we can have some credibility.
but bottom line,
and
their
eventually score all these people.
their goals are the same as what you're looking for, and that's to keep the cops constitutional and in line.
You should join the Libertarian Party. Most of them are libertarians.
Yeah, most of them are.
Yeah.
All right, so, anything else from Communications Committee?
I'm done.
All right, without objection, I'd like to, Brian, did you need to leave early?
Yeah.
All right, so without objection, I'd like to skip down to, item 7C. Brian came, of course, also as a member. Let's speak specifically on the red light camera issue and initiative possibility.
Okay, yeah, this is what I want to do here. Actually, it's a double team thing. We are working, and this is something that we're working with, Hillsborough, Grant Liberty, and Tampa Bay RLC. This is kind of a coalition thing, working across party lines.
So it's something that Brian's putting together.
Right.
This is not,
Yeah, well,
The Hillsborough,
county party.
I just want to clarify that when he said we, it did not mean the party is putting together a coalition.
Yeah,
Brian's putting together a
yeah.
coalition.
Something I started the day after the gubernatorial election. trying to do is, we determined that there were 3 cities, and of course, 1 county. I'm wanting to do, what I started with was doing doing petitions to get a referendum on the ballot for red light cameras. Now, at the same time, Sharon Calvert, who is, remember, I think what the only county commission is with, the Tampa, with the Tea Party of, Hillsborough County, she's working with the, no tax for tracks, so we're kind of going to try to work both those together, because that's a big expenditure that they're wanting to try to get people to. It's hard for me to. It's hard for me. Okay, she'll have to talk more about that. The idea is, I'm wanting to do. It has to be 4 different petitions, one for each city and one for the county, because each city in Hillsborough County has red light cameras, and then the unincorporated areas in Hillsborough County has red light cameras. Now, in Brooksville last October, they tried to do this. Now, and the judge threw it out. Now I looked at, I went with Patrick Henry, and you're in the group, and you're in the groups, so you probably read some more Patrick Henry had to say. He said the judge probably was reading it incorrectly. He said that it was overruling state law, when in reality, Paul said the state law allowed the red light cameras to be in a county or a city, but it did not mandate, which is what the judge was saying. He said for red light cameras to be in a city or county.
So is that right, that if in Ocala, they started an initiative to remove the cameras?
No, Brooksville.
Brooksville.
Yeah, right.
And the judge
threw it out, but.
Threw it off the ballot, or they?
Yeah, threw it off the ballot.
Threw it off the ballot because he said it conflicted with the law requiring them to have cameras.
Right, which was wrong, because the law said it allowed cities and counties to put the cameras in. It did not say that cities and counties were required to have it. So he was saying it the wrong way.
So because we're going to run into the same objection here.
Correct.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Didn't Pinellas just overturn red light cameras?
Right. No, the city of St. Pete did. The rest of the county still had it. Okay. Now, what happened was Tampa briefly voted it down, but then Buckport, whatever his name is, changed it around, and then the city council voted. Only one person voted against getting rid of it. So after they voted against him, then he did something to say, hey, we're going to keep the money here. So they voted the second time and decided.
So the coalition would be to put an initiative out in each of the 3 cities and the county that has to be handled separately to remove the red light cameras.
Correct.
Okay. Sharon Calvert.
She's working on the notes act.
Four of us did meet in person. He's coordinating, and I came on behalf of the LP to meet and find out about it. Sharon Calvert I've known for a while. She's the secretary of the GOP Republican Party in Hillsborough County. Hillsborough. And it is an excellent person.
I thought the system was imploding anyway.
It's being unsuccessful doesn't mean they won't be doing it.
Well, no, I heard that it was losing money, and the company that was going to do it was just going to yank them.
It's losing money. It's ineffective as a deterrent for safety.
Right. Well, we all know that.
And it's a rights violation. So I mean, there's no. That's how you can get Democratic support. For it, for targeting.
Yeah, I
right?
thought I read that
you can get the Republican support for it because it's a waste of money, and you can get our support because it's in a violation of liberty. So it'd be a great initiative, especially if it gains up some traction.
The only thing is we have here is the American Traffic Solutions and
big company with a lot of money.
Yeah, so.
Let them use some money to fund the Libertarian Party then.
So, I mean, they're not gonna just back down easily, and they are not above breaking laws to keep themselves.
They probably have a lobbyist.
Hillsborough, you mentioned in one of your, campaign for liberty.
Yes.
Did you receive the email that they sent?
They're actually having, now for the no tax for tracks, they're having a meeting here on Sunday.
Yes.
If y'all wanna learn more about that, about how we're to try to,
It's a lot of things. The initiatives though are separate, correct?
right.
The no tax for tracks has to be completely separate from the red light camera.
Correct, which is just something that, because
It's a lot
we're
of
working
things.
together, we're trying to work on both of them together, since we're working together as a group. But Sharon's more working on that part, and I'm trying to help out.
You know when a meeting is when?
It's gonna be here.
The
In this
17th.
room?
Yes.
No,
No.
in this room?
I don't think it's this.
I'm not sure if here it's with,
Perkins.
Perkins.
Literally here.
Yeah, it says it right here in the email.
Quite literally here.
Here was.
Hold on.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Was it a Brooksville judge, was it a Brooksville County judge that threw out the petition?
Yeah, so,
Did they appeal it?
well, no, this is what happened. I actually talked to the people in Brooksville, I was talking to, they lost faith in the system. However, what happened was, a new council was elected. So they went to the council on a week ago, Monday. And the new council voted 3-1 to get rid of the cameras. At the end of this, so as of December of this year, Brooksville no longer has cameras. So, well, it didn't really set a precedent, because they were trying to, I'm sure, ATS went up there, trying to make, and their lawyers went up there trying to act all tough and everything, but, and acting like it set a precedent, but Paul Henry he's like, knows more about red light camera law than anybody else in the state. He's already read it and said, clearly it says the law allows for red light cameras in the county. It does not mandate that you have to have red light cameras. So for that reason, a county can vote not to have them. It's because it allows them to have it, does not say you have to have them.
We went through that in Tampa already last year also. They were gonna get that done, and something happened, it never came down.
That's because Buckhorn promised he would reallocate the money the way they wanted it, so the council changed the mind.
Of course.
So that's why I'm saying, since the council isn't operating in our interest, that's why.
That's why I always said, you wanna change everything, do what the progressives did in the 1800s, start putting libertarians as judges. That's how you change the whole entire system. And screw the whole thing about putting libertarians in freaking office. Put them as the judges. That's how the progressives changed the whole meeting.
What we're gonna have to do is, since our council didn't want to handle it the right way, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but look at what that judge did in that city.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then while we look into it, and continue to work on it then.
Yeah.
And then when something begins to form, I guess we'll just bring it back to this body to see if it's something that the party would want to become actively involved in and participate in the coalition.
You'll put the website, of course, on that link page we're talking about. I mean, this is obviously
Sure.
local, the tactics, we didn't want to help them, but
Sure.
at least linking to them,
There's always going to be a lot of overlap, but this is definitely political action and communications working together. And if we take it on as a campaign, then it'll involve campaign committees and it's soon to be board resources. So there'll be a lot of overlap on projects between our committees, but yeah. Is there anything else, Brian, on that? I think it's a great cause, personally.
It's just something that obviously a lot of us are gonna have to get involved with to get the petitions out. So.
Yeah.
Is the petition is it a ballot or
How many?
a petition to help some lobbyists talk about a study committee or someone else?
Well, now there's an option, because Sharon talked about it. She said, when something
2013, Hillsborough County got $885 million worth of tickets. Yes, it did. Millions. You had no idea how many millions the state of Florida made in 2013. The whole state? The whole state. No, that was just I'm telling you, that was the county. I follow the red light camera thing. I'm telling you right now. People don't even know. No.
That's twice the size of the county budget.
I'm telling you right now. That was one of the things that split up the state between the county.
Well, they pay it to the state. That's what we discussed in the meeting.
Split it up with the
The
county.
state gets a lot of that money, and the question was, where did it go? What was it used for?
One of
Which,
the
of course, this is important to us because we want to kill it at the. We want to kill it at the fountain.
One of the red light camera people, one of the red light camera business come from even outside of the United States. It's not even a United States thing. That would come from Australia.
This would be a really easy initiative to win. We get this on the ballot. The hard part will be getting it on the ballot. It'll be great to show that it's a waste of money, a violation of liberty, that it doesn't keep anybody safe. And I know it's a coalition, but everybody involved will be equal. We just want to make sure the LP is more equal in its visibility. I know. You actually. And you're doing a good job of that, but our flag was
What we're doing is, let me tell you what the population is, so we'll have an idea. It has to be 10%.
Right.
I'm saying we aim for 15%.
Right.
Because there's some will be thrown out. And these are some numbers. Hillsborough County, 1.3 million. So that means 130,000 voters. Yeah.
0.13 million. 130,000.
So you probably need 200,000. Plant City, 2013, had 36,097 people living in the city. Temple
So it's
Terrace.
voters, right? Not residents.
I think that was the population. I didn't have, we didn't look at voters. These are
But the percentage is the number of voters, the registered voters, not the number of.
Yeah, I guess it would be registered voters.
Okay. And I actually have those numbers on the report here,
Oh, you do?
based on the countywide.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot. I mean, we're talking about gathering a lot of signatures.
Will help.
If we have a lot of forces in place, petition drives and things can be great party building exercises.
Especially if you're able to register voters to vote.
Yeah.
I would make a suggestion for that. Instead of knocking door to door, set up a booth at the market.
Yeah, I'll happily help because we live right there.
There's 773,000 voters in Hillsborough County.
I'm not sure.
773,000 voters.
People aren't voters. So how many are? Come on, how many are in Tampa?
We still,
Yeah, that I
some
know.
of our
I
teams
don't have
that
that right
we were not voters.
Okay, so.
All right, but
You
yeah.
could do it, but you can also, when me and Davis did this one time, set up outside of, automobile place where you need tags.
Yeah.
And if you actually call ahead of time. Yeah, if you actually call ahead of time, you could, they have no right to tell you cannot
Right.
set up inside.
A lot of places you can gather signatures.
Yes. And what you do is while you're gathering signatures, petitions, you can also be trying to get.
There's a lot of
petitions
animosity
for-
right now against surveillance, and television's been listening to you and all sorts of things, but this would be a good time to take part in that.
I would
Great.
like to do it downtown.
We're using it against the.
Great.
How many people get
Absolutely.
aggravated out of there because they forgot to pick their
Great.
friends?
Brian, thank you for that. That's a great cause. So why don't we look at discussing that further at the next meeting and decide if the coalition's coming together, if that's something we want to be part of, and if it doesn't come together, whether it's something we want to take on.
Support them.
Yeah.
I told Spen probably there, because he mentioned, he put something about the, no tax.
I'll post on Facebook how much money the Hillsborough County made on red light cameras in 2013.
Great.
You'll see how many millions of dollars we're
And
talking
you need to
about.
also post how many accidents went up from before and.
Yeah. Well, they'll come back with the numbers that it went down, that it actually stopped things, but that's because they changed the rules on the camera and the amount of delay time. So that's what changed.
So people got aggravated because
That's
the
what
yellow
made the
light
numbers
wasn't
change.
lasting long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they got the yellow light time, and that's what, and that was the big difference with the camera.
They got it,
Great
the red
design.
light cameras were, they got it 2 seconds.
Yeah.
BS, we don't want that.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. long-term plans, bylaws, revisions, fundraising, and annual. Let's get together at some point, work through some ideas. So I've got a couple of people in mind that could help on this committee. That'd be really good. The political action committee, President? Anything you want to comment on?
I was gonna talk about red light cameras,
Okay.
constitutional sheriff, more than that. I haven't done much this month. I think the only thing that I've been thinking about just that I can do, I'm gonna try and maybe give like a monthly update, and I'll get a list of whoever, all of them representatives. What do you need to spend most of them, and then try and give an update on anything they're doing that's outrageous. Once a month, as opposed to meetings.
Okay.
Little stuff like that. The only other thing I was gonna suggest is to start, developing relationships with local journalists.
Do we want to help families that having problems with medical marijuana situation? There's still a couple people here in Hillsborough County whose kids got taken over because they medicate not with marijuana, but with TH.
Got the oil?
Yes. Hash. Yes, with medical not the marijuana. What's that called? Heroin. The components of THC and CBD oil. That's what it's cannabidol, which comes from hemp, not with the seed, but just the plants itself. And they were having some couple of problems. Would you guys like to be involved in something like that? Because that's something that it can give us publicity too.
I wouldn't.
What do you think?
I'm all for it, but I'm thinking that the libertarians, one of our downfalls is we're passing ourselves too much to marijuana.
But this is not marijuana.
I know, but that's what
The drug cost. We need to get out there on a lot of issues. I mean,
How many trillions of dollars the government is making
Sure.
on the workers?
Oh, sure.
You're preaching to the choir. I'm just saying that I think that's what our biggest downfalls are. People think we're hotheads, people think we're atheists, people think we're anarchists. So we're not all those things. So that's just my
overall, there's better than more.
well, but I'm getting at, a lot of people look at that as
Sure. Yeah, they're branding. Right.
Right.
Yeah. But to answer your bigger questions, I would love to see us grow to the position where when someone in our community's rights are being trampled on
yes.
by any level of government, that
That's
we're
what I
visibly
mean.
there and taking a position and we always have to meter resources and visibility and balance that with our growth efforts and where we're at. But
Because I agree with you that people are always thinking that we're just a five-man party. I completely agree with you on that one. But one thing is, these people's rights have been violated.
No, I agree.
And our sheriff is not doing
And
anything
if
about
I
it.
could dig in my pocket to give people all I could give them to help fund whatever I would, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm just saying, I think we kind of sort of need to start distancing ourselves.
It's not going to happen. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to happen.
you say that, or we need to perhaps bring our other issues up to that level of visibility.
Exactly.
And still, the
same
media
power.
would always tell you you're the five-head party.
Always.
It happens all the time.
Getting close to them.
Don't matter. When Gary Johnson was running for president, it was the same thing. Every issue he wanted to bring it up, the media always brought up the pot issues.
I think that's what Bill Wilson's thing was.
You always have to go back to we're about liberty, and that's a subtopic of liberty, but we're about liberty
We're a
first.
libertarian party, not a libertine party, and it's certainly part of our platform, like I said before, it's to end the war on drugs.
Yeah.
That's legalizing it, so I don't know where to go with it. I'm interested in
I want to
utilities.
end the war on the war on.
Well, the federal government has a war on everything.
Exactly.
Can we look
Who are you at war with?
on this agenda? If we could, I'm sorry, not Jim, we're done. Okay, can we look at this standing committee structure page? It's attached to the packet. We circulated this before. Last time I circulated it, we made some additions to it. Those additions were added on to the version you have now, the 2.11.5.15 version. Kind of defining what these committees and their primary function is. So I just wanted to throw that out. This is another document that needs to be working all the time as we define what these committees' areas of responsibility are. There will always be overlap. Kind of the vision is that the development committee is shooting the plans and figuring out how to come up with the funding to get things done, and looking at keeping our bylaws in sync with our growth needs. Membership is focused on getting people in so we have the work page right now, of course, I've got all of us plugged in every committee because we need to know what everybody's doing, but we're not necessarily on that committee. That's just the most
Yeah,
effective
first.
way.
I mean, you just want to add as a reference document?
Yeah, basically, yeah, and just see if there's anything else you wanted to add to this, or take off, or if anything you think needs to be moved under someone else, or.
I didn't read every word on here, but I'm thinking we need like some kind of hospitality person who kind of like does maybe some onboarding of new active members, giving like the introduction to who's here already,
Right.
what are they doing,
Yeah, membership.
what are these
Yeah.
people coming in the door good at, where might they fit, that kind of thing.
In our old structure, the sergeant at arms was kind of the host for the meeting. I can see the chair of the membership committee being the host of the membership meeting and greeting and introducing and making, because through communications, they'll be making sure that everybody's been invited. That may be the person that's kind of that host for the membership meeting and getting to know everybody and doing that networking. That'd be most effective through that membership chair, probably. And that would be for sure. And at this point, yeah, Patrick and I are going to share everything on the communication, on the membership committee for now until we fill that chair. It's a great manager, by the way, but I think I'm supposed to run for burnout right now on everything else she's been doing. In case she's listening, we talked about you anyway. In a good way. Yeah.
She's got us in screen on the top right corner of her smart TV.
Yeah.
She's watching
So,
us now.
she'd be fantastic for that position. Somebody out there, very charismatic, Jerry bringing in, so we need to do that. Okay, well, let's consider this a working document. So if you have thoughts on this and we need to redefine it, we can keep posting on it and discussing.
I think it's good to have, so when
Yeah.
next year we're
It's sufficing as a flow chart for
slot,
now.
you can
It's a
grab
good way to
plot
flow
the,
this.
you know.
Yeah. Okay, quick and painless. Bylaws revisions. You've got an attachment here. Last month we did away with the sergeant at arms position, and that requires a couple of tweaks to the bylaws, which we didn't do. We tabled on for this meeting. They're there. You got that attached to the packet. Underlines or additions, strike throughs or deletions. In section 3, in Article 2, Section 3, I'm sorry. In Section 3, Section 2 of Article 3, it's simply removing the word sergeant at arms from the list of executive committee members. In the next section, we add at the end of that section a duty that used to belong to the sergeant at arms, and this is that the secretary will record the attendance of the meetings. And we have this sign-in sheet that we use for that recorded who attended the meeting. That was the job of sergeant at arms. Now it would fall to the secretary. Then of course we remove the entire paragraph describing the sergeant at arms. Under section 5 again we're removing the title sergeant at arms. And under section 4 article 5 it's taking one of the duties of the sergeant at arms and assigning it to the membership committee chair, which is to verify the eligibility of the people in the meeting to vote. So these are bylaws changes that require 2/3 vote. So do you want to take this en masse or one at a time?
Committee chair, members of the committee chair. Okay.
We need to really start streamlining these meetings.
Yeah, I agree. So you want to take this en masse then, or do you want to discuss each of these?
I think just take it on math.
Okay.
I'm not prepared.
All right, great. Then we need a motion. Okay, motion and a second. All right. Any discussion?
Yes,
Yeah.
question for you over here. If I want to bring people to our meeting, right?
Well, hang on. Right now, it's just questions on this.
Oh, okay.
On this amendment.
We just.
Yeah, on the amendment to the bylaw.
Gotcha.
I have a question.
Yes.
Being an engineer by training, are we keeping like a revision history? Like our bylaws are now
These
Rev
documents.
3, or
Yeah, the revision.
In the footer of every page.
What we have is we have all these proposals and changes in the minutes, and then the new version has a revision date of the date that this would have taken place.
Sure.
So that you could go back and reconstruct the process by looking through those. Yeah, I know. It doesn't have the foot dates and the dates that things were changed.
I guess I just suggest that we always have like this is the latest version because this is the Rev
Right.
block, Rev A, Rev B.
Yeah, and that's what.
A date that it was enacted as
approve this today, then it would be today's date would be the newest revision date, and I'll put the change and send it to everybody.
Probably the date's easiest.
Yeah.
I might have an opinion.
All right, then I've called the question, so all in favor?
Do you have an opinion on documentation control at all in this bylaw document?
We're on Facebook, right?
Yeah, we're posting all the revisions on there, so, okay. So then I'll call the question, all in favor of the changes as proposed? Okay. Any opposed?
Yes.
Okay, then that passes. All right then. On new business, the candidates debate forum, we already discussed, the sheriff's, issue, we discussed red light cameras, we did. Survey of committee members, he mentioned in the beginning of the meeting.
Coming.
Okay, so, there's a survey, that he's gonna send out to everyone by email that we can answer, and get back to him, that'll help kind of define talents and communication abilities. We need to update our bank account, with the new officers list. I was prepared to do that and then learned that our treasurer's probably resigning, so I can't do that now, but, right now you and I are still the signers on there, so we'll just keep that for now, but as soon as we settle in on, if there is a treasurer change, we have a resignation, then, I know, my wife, then we're gonna start the meeting any minute now. No. She's been to a lot of our meetings. Alright, so, as soon as we have that new officer, then we'll update. We have to get a lot of signatures twice for the bank, one for the proposal and one for the final document.
I got a question. Did we ever find our incorporation document?
No.
Any hot on the trail?
Nope. Haven't spent any time on that at all.
Do you need help?
Yep.
Well, now,
I wanna
that's
figure
a
that out.
different question.
It's a little different.
It's separately, yeah, it's a different question. When I went on,
Don't leave the account till you open the new one.
I've seen on everything, yeah, that we're listed in a couple places, Libertarian Party of Westbrook County, Inc. I go on Sunbiz, there's no such organization.
It might be a Delaware corporation.
So, I need to find out what that's about. And if we need to, because the other counties aren't incorporated either. When I searched on the Libertarian Party, there's just Florida.
It might be a
It's just the executive committee, but they got the number, we have an EIN number.
What's the federal number?
Yeah. So we couldn't open the bank account without it. So we have one, but how do you get it without? So that's gonna be a question for, you know, I bet would know that. I bet Alex Sifter would know that because he knows more of the mechanics and the legalities.
I can tell you that when you go to the bank to open up an account right now, that they don't necessarily need a copy of your documentation, but they will look it up online.
Yeah, and this account was already open.
So they're gonna look like if
I
you're
inherited everything,
Sunday
so.
to look for it.
Yeah.
So you'll wanna be able to have an answer for
Yeah,
that.
but close
Yeah, that's a good question. David Hester,
Who's that guy?
former chair.
Okay.
He's on Facebook all the time.
Yeah. All right, let me ask Dave. There's probably a really good answer. We just don't know enough to know what questions to ask.
Because we look real good at the county elections office, got regular reporting, going back 6 years.
Yeah. Yeah, everything looks good there, and the financials are all in and good. And
Whoever's doing that, thank you.
so, yeah, I think we're all good there. Anything else for the agenda? Very, very last and briefly. This is not a proposal, I'm just throwing it out conceptually. We need to, this is what I kind of want to open for discussion for our last couple of minutes. Now that we've got the structure in place, we need to begin to recruit new blood, new talent to come in so that we can get them involved and get them plugged into committees and membership and being involved.
Now, but that was gonna be my question to you, since I'm involved in that one.
Yeah.
Especially since 10 years vision. When I approach somebody to come to our meetings, what do you want me to just to tell them?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you know my point of view,
Sure.
what a libertarian is to me.
Sure.
But I started noticing that libertarianism for everybody is different.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that people understand that they're going to come to a meeting where it's going to be a very diverse opinions,
Sure.
and they're not going to feel very
I would say
uncomfortable.
exactly that.
Yeah.
I would say exactly that.
Sure.
It's a diverse, group of libertarians.
Yeah.
We range from one end of the spectrum to the other. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, that's part of the trick of getting people not to think left or right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
what?
People ask me personally, you know what I mean? It's like, the non-intervention thing is, for me, the biggest thing. I don't tell you what to do, you don't tell me what to do. That is the one thing that all libertarians are agreed to, okay? Beyond that, you're on your own. But the thing is, we have to make sure we agree that we don't tell each other what to do. Basically, how the state tells the citizens what to do. We're not those kind of people. So that's the kind of thing that I always bring to people first.
That's why a lot of our meetings tend not to be issues. They tend not to be platform and flank discussions because that's not where we're approaching things. Republicans and Democrats do spend all of their time on positions on social issues and positions on this. And our concept is from a libertarian perspective, which is completely different, right?
Well, when we talk about social issues, even within libertarians, that's very controversial.
Well, where they agree is the fact that these decisions are made on an individual basis and not by a body of government. Right. So you and I can disagree completely on there are a number of social issues.
But we both agree that the government should.
But we agree that it's not.
Well, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's not. That I'm not free unless you're free. But I think some opportunities where we can train activists in how to communicate that and how to communicate that efficiently is a great idea. So how do we reach people?
By asking for money.
This upcoming thing in
We
June.
don't have to get to that yet.
It's got all kind of classes on all that. Have you seen any of that?
Which?
The thing Alex is setting up. They've got all weekend long. They've got all kinds of different classes.
Conventions and or sessions and classes.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Those are great things we can link to, things we can hook on our YouTube
No,
channel.
dude, I listen to the mainstream, not mainstream, the extreme part of the libertarian. That's the part that I focus on. I don't focus on the other.
I dabble in that too.
You understand what I'm trying to say?
I know exactly what you're saying.
So, that's what makes a big difference, you know what I mean?
I dabble in that too. I mean, there's part of me that feels like we need to be Mad Max, and there's part of me that feels that we do need socialism.
Like, for example, one thing that changed me a lot when it comes about talking to other libertarians, libertarians changed my mind about abortion. Something that I was very strong about, I'm anti-abortion. Now, these two people are the one who created one life. Those would be the one deciding, not anybody else around them. So there's the two parties that make one little thing. It's 50-50.
And you definitely have a wide variety of opinions on the issue of abortion.
Yeah, the libertarians are in agreement completely.
On that. I mean, one week I could feel one way, and one week.
Yeah, I take a very strong anti-abortion position from the libertarian position of the child. So.
Yeah, me too.
There's a lot of that. And these are great stuff and stuff we can sponsor.
That in mind, how do you think
but back to
turkey
outreach.
feels on Thanksgiving?
Isn't that right? I don't care.
Done.
But back to outreach.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, there's some in there.
Like I said, we need to put up that account.
I'd like to look at a way. We've got it. We're not going to do it tonight, but maybe we'll throw this up on our forum and discuss it some more. A couple of things. We need to reach the. We do have a membership report in here, by the way, that we didn't discuss. So it's just new numbers, same format as before. So take a look at that when you get a chance. We are slowly growing, even in our percentage of numbers of voters in Hillsborough County. Our percentage grows a little bit all the time. We need to reach the 1,700 plus libertarian voters. And we need to find a way, and the Wiley campaign said that they would help with this, in reaching some of the 18,000 people that voted for Adrian.
We would plan to create some PACs on the stamps.
Yeah.
Put like PayPal, donations.
Yeah. So what I'd like to look at doing is look at either doing some very simple postcard. We need to go old school to the mailbox on occasion and reach people that we don't have their email address. The cheapest way to do it would be some little postcard. There's also a lot of mail drop services out there. If we can get a simple cover letter out to these 1,700 plus our membership data, so about 2,000 people. We can get a simple letter out to people that says briefly, check out what we're doing. I'm not proposing that we produce a printed full newsletter because we can't afford to do that unless someone comes up with the money for us to do that. But a simple letter that says, look,
go to our website, because here's the details of it to get more information. But more importantly, we want their contact information. And go to this link and, fill out your, name and email address so we can communicate with you, because doing it by mail is too expensive. And see if we can start communicating a little better with people that are already probably voting libertarian or already there. We just don't have a way to communicate.
And I got several friends, they don't wanna take a.
Yeah, and they'll always be there.
Oh, sharing your information?
No. Well, there'll always be people that love
Registered
that will never
libertarian.
come to a meeting.
Why? They just don't wanna, they're scared to be too fat. They just don't wanna do it.
Something that Dan and I have talked about, over the last, 3 weeks or so, is we were talking about, people enjoy social, and they
Yes.
enjoy exactly your point of debating, where do I stand, where do you stand, and we're all libertarian on these issues. And so we had talked about perhaps doing a once a month social where it was competitive. So maybe we were looking at like the younger kids or the older kids or the college kids or the, whatever, the couples or whatever, so that say you went to the bowling alley and it was $15 to be a team, and each person pays their fees, you get your alley, your shoes, your whatever, and then whichever group wins, whether it's this group or the college group or whatever group of libertarian wins, they get to take that money, that whatever's left over after the expenses, and apply it to some libertarian cause of their choosing. So you could do darts 1 month, bowling 1 month, pool 1 month, something like that, where social, when you're in those environments where the pool tables, the darts, and the bowling, the people who wanna have a beer and a burger can, the people who don't, don't. It's the same type of thing that you see on Meetup and stuff, social all over the place in a professional networking, but we could do it in a format that rather than making business networking, you're networking with other libertarians, you're getting to know the people. It also pulls people's walls down a little bit, so now they get to know Matt, who's doing political action committee, and they say, hey, I'd really like to work with Matt on this, I'd really like to work with Felix on this, I'd like to work with Kevin on this, I wanna be the membership chair and work with Kevin.
We've been talking about that for a long time and nothing happened. I wanna bring
Here's
those
why.
people to those.
Yeah, no, but here's why we haven't
Right.
done it. We haven't done it intentionally because we didn't have our structure down.
Structure set
We had
up.
to commit these months to getting our structure down, because this is what was happening. In the party's history, there were 2 or 3 socials a month. It was posted every month. They'd be at this restaurant at this time, and people come together and gather and just talk. No agenda, maybe a couple of talking points, but no agenda, and certainly not a meeting. These are people that would never come to meetings and don't want to be any part of that. Problem was they would come to those, and they would start to get interested. Maybe this is something I could get involved in. And they would come to a meeting. And at that meeting, there was nothing for them to do. There was no role for them to plug into. Somebody at the meeting was completely scared them away. That happened on more than one occasion. And probably of the 20 people that I saw start to attend social, honestly, none of those are still around. And this is like in the past year. Because there was no place for them to go yet. We were attracting them, and there was no place to go. We were generating leads, and we had no product.
And this is what I was saying.
That's why we stopped the development.
That's why I like her idea.
Yeah. So that's now we need to turn that back on to finish my
Her
thought.
idea is fantastic.
We need to turn that back on now and start doing social events to draw people out, to meet them, to start that vetting process to see where they can become involved and where they best be plugged in.
What is like softball too? Create teams.
Right.
Do all of that.
Join a
So
league.
then you can get their name and their email and stuff signed in, because they're signing in at the activity.
Dude,
Because
the
they're-
last thing that we did with bowling, and that was almost a year ago, that was when the other guy was the head of the libertarians.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
And he,
I'm new here, I'm still one of the darn Republicans.
yeah,
that will-
he
Yeah,
did
Dave's
that.
great guy.
I show up in that bowling day, and I tell you, we had a blast.
Yeah, it's a great event.
And they brought friends, co-workers to them.
Yeah.
So basically, it's people bringing, like I wanted to do that too. I want to bring my co-workers to this and show them, look, this is the group that I meet with, talk to
Yeah.
these people.
That's exactly where I'm going.
And when they see you guys, they're like, these guys are cool as hell, man. I would love to hang out with you guys. You know, come to me.
That's how we're going to grow the party and scale up the ranks. You pull in people on just the social aspect and icebreakers, and then you pull them in because they're cause oriented or candidate oriented. So we need to do all of that. So what I'm proposing is, and we've discussed this in the past, I'd like to set up in a couple of different locations around the county a regular social event. We need to be in Carrollwood, we need to be in South Tampa, we need to be out in the Brandon area once a month with a very casual social discuss issues of the day. Um,
So we have a meetup, we can probably.
oh yeah, we can promote it, we can use the membership, and there are people that will never come to this because this is a business meeting. They want nothing to do with this, but they wouldn't miss, the third Saturday morning having McDonald's somewhere for breakfast. I mean, they'll always go to that. And this is what the 912s do, or groups. This is what
There's a diner on, I think it's Havana, just north of Columbus, it's just the political diner.
yeah, the famous diner over there. Yeah,
Okay, we should do one there.
yeah.
It's all out.
Well, I think it's also that you shouldn't always be eating. What you find is that, like someone like me, this is the only meeting that I go to that's an eating meeting, and it's because it was Kevin. But I would show up for bowling, I would show up for softball, I
Yeah,
would show up for darts.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
show
you
up for
definitely need to have
anything that's interactive.
something interactive.
It's playtime. You gotta make it
Interactive and fun
playtime.
every month. Yeah, I agree.
But I would definitely suggest getting it figured out and on your calendar for
Yeah.
several months in advance before sending
Oh,
out the letter,
no,
which is why I'm
absolutely.
bringing it up.
Yeah, that was my point.
Calendaring's a big deal, we need to have the whole year.
Is
Do you have a calendar?
a letter like this?
You got March in it? Yes.
I-
When's the 17th? I know. Tuesday. It's 2 weeks after voting day.
It's a holiday of obligation.
Sometimes, what was the other group that we were just at?
I'll be there too.
That you invited?
Uh,
Backyard?
Yeah, wasn't that this group?
I don't remember.
Bonfire?
Is it something we
Adrian.
organized? Or
That was
somebody
an
else
Adrian
organized?
campaign that you guys did.
No, I thought we were talking out in the parking lot last month, and we can get together for like a bonfire, that's social
We
too.
can
That's
do it at my house, some point.
Yeah.
We can do, like I said,
Backyard barbecue.
Even if it's a public
grill.
barbecue, it's
I have a
on
backyard in
Saturday.
my house too, so we can.
The simplest things to set up right away is right away and get on a regular calendar would be I've talked it and I just mentioned O'Toole just because it's a nice central place in Brandon. That's what we do. We try to do an election day. We're gonna start to do like a once a month in Brandon area. Probably this O'Toole's like the fourth Wednesday of the month. Can somebody look for a location like South Tampa and North?
We were at the VFW, is that the one or American
He's
Legion?
talking about going out for dinner.
No, I'm talking like a monthly get
I would
together
go to Peabody's
eat thing.
Tampa.
If we can get those set up as a regular event where people can count. Well, I'll say if we can get something set up where it's a regular event and people can count on it.
I don't have, email.
Are you looking for like restaurants or places?
Yeah, hang on a second. I want to get all of them. If we can set up, I like 3 different spots during the month in different parts of the county because of our geography, where it's consistent that we're having people come and they can attend a social, in their area once a month. Is just is a doorway. Then events like bowling events or cookouts, whatever, we can set those up, once a month, once every 6 weeks, whatever, on top of the calendar as well. Because people may be more inclined to come to, my house for a cookout after we've met a few times at a social event.
Susie and I aren't quite there yet, but at some point we can do the Tampa meeting.
Yeah. So can someone look for a location? I'll go ahead and set up a Brandon one.
Let me know what's going on, all right?
Will do, bud. I'm gonna set up. One, two. No, we're still in session. Can somebody look for like a? If we're in Brandon, where else do we want?
That's what I'm saying. If you're looking for like a restaurant, I can set the
That's still kind of that.
Let me know when you do that, I'll send my Polk County friends over.
But that and the Brandon one are kind of that same general direction. So it means the same audiences. What about like up down Avery somewhere? Does anybody know anything up there we can set up?
There's if you're looking for this type of room, there's
Yeah.
one over at the, Sweet Tomatoes up there in Heroin. No.
Really?
No, we ran into that problem a lot with business networking. But Village Inn does, the one who used to have it, the one who closed, that was up there, it closed and lost owners.
So what are you thinking in terms of geography? If we do something out in the Brandon
I
area,
think like
we're covering that
way up
side of the
there.
county.
Maybe Oldsmar.
Lutz, and then what? Would you say like
Oldsmar's pretty close.
Gandy area, or more like Del Mabry, or what? What would be a second and a third location? Huh?
I think you should probably just come up with an answer.
Oh, Lutz is another one?
Lutz is still South County Road, that'd be cool.
Lutz, and then where else? Would you think if we're
I
in
would
Lutz?
stay away from the county line. Like I'm listening to when you say Lutz and Oldsmar, I hear you're right next to Pinellas and
Like,
kind
Those are New
better
Tampa.
off to pull it in a little bit, cause that way you're pulling from both sides.
But you want to look for like county.
Well, that's
Yeah.
close to Brandon though. That's Brandon's a good central one for Plant City and Fish Hawk. All right, this is the last thing. We can help me out with the third one then. If we're kind of New Tampa direction, we're, Brandon area, that'll cover Fish Hawk, Plant City, all that. Where else do we need to be?
Kind of have to do that there.
Carrollwood, County Century area.
Carrollwood.
What, I'm not pointing at you, I'm just saying.
No, no,
That's
it's
that other area.
kind of just Luke, me, Carolyn, whatever.
Are there big differences?
But
Yeah,
I think
geographical.
you should hit South Tampa personally.
Yeah, I think
A
South
lot of
Tampa's
people there. There's some money. Pretty organized.
Well, there sure is in Hyde Park and that whole area.
Pretty uppity. So they might be active.
Um,
Bobby.
all right, we'll tell you what then. I'm gonna post some follow-up questions and things to this on Facebook, so we can all be chewing on and discussing some follow-up things. But I'd like to start in March, a social, 3 socials a month.
Wow.
So that we can in these 3 diverse regions.
Are you talking the same day or are you talking different days? So.
No, we need to not all be on Wednesdays.
Well,
We
that's what I was
need to
saying.
break it up so people can.
Yeah, if you go to
Pretty much every weekend there should be a regional stuff.
There should be something going on, once a week in a different region of the county is the idea. And the Tea Party does this. A lot of groups do this. You will get your regular crowd that comes to that.
And they might
You've got to
even
start
join
drawing
in.
out
We
people.
should organize around them because some of them are like us.
There's a lot of common ground. Yeah.
My relationship was different. We're a political party, they're not. That's the deal.
You what, sir?
We're a political party, but they're not.
Yeah, they're not a political party.
The 9/12ers aren't either, right?
That means they get to have all the fun with none of the legal requirements.
I would suggest making sure that you have at least a few people showing up before, pushing
Right.
three a month in March might be too soon, because you may not have enough support to, I'm not
I
gonna
don't
go
know.
all the way out to Plant City
I don't know.
for a social.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's look for a location. Let's see if we can get some people to connect to a few of these. I'll talk to some people that have come to meetings in the past that don't want to be a part of this, that do like the socials, because again, there's about 18 or 20 of them that used to come to the social that won't do this. And if we can start getting them some ownership in those regions, we may be heading in the direction where we actually have regional directors and regional reps. So
They may have some good ideas of where they want to go.
If we can start,
Exactly
if
right,
we can
yeah.
start streamlining this, I think you'll get a little bit more people.
I agree.
I love
And
keeping
this is
it
always
up
the
in
messy
Tampa.
business meeting. Yeah.
Peabody, is that how you say it? Sorry.
Because they're from.
Yeah,
But that's from
that's why the
Stamford,
business meeting
Massachusetts.
can't be the social meeting. It's fine that we get together and eat dinner first,
What I'm
but
what
this
I'm
is the
getting
nuts
at
and
is
bolts,
even
painful
the
business stuff.
if we can streamline it, I think you'll have more people coming.
I agree. Yeah, the faster we move it, the more we stay on topic.
I think it's just legitimately we acknowledge it's huge task. You need to be involved with the bureaucracy of the Democratic Party, or you be involved in the activities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep it separate. They can go wherever they
There are
want.
those strange people that
They
enjoy
don't
both.
have to come here.
We're probably in the room.
Yeah.
So,
Unless they want to vote on something.
all right. So then we know when our next meetings are. And I want to try to handle everything that we can and should in executive committee meetings, either because we're meeting on the Google Meetup or because we're just posting and voting, so that it doesn't fall on this agenda.
I'm gonna actually
So that
create
this moves a little more
create a
quickly.
regular date for our executive committee meetings, so it's always the same day.
If we need to have, there's a lot of times like there's no reason really to have one for this week. These things we need to report to the membership.
We'll just have one anyway.
We need to inform those, even if they're quick on and offs. Yeah. All right. So, motion to adjourn. Second. Anybody opposed?